tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Poppin' tennis swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Poppin' tennis swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Poppin' tennis swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Amadaya Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Amadaya Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so before we get into it, let's have a brief word from our sponsor at 12 Tribes. All right, here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, now let's see who's in here. All right, Nessie X, Buckhorse DC, G from the Land is in the house. All right, Claudette, 504 NOLA. Okay, DJ Big Six, Most Hated Bronze Flat Power God. Okay, let's get into it. Shout out to everyone in the chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, Khalid, my Egypt in the chat. All right, Queen Sam. Where are my nefarious moderators? Any moderators in here today? Are they all on vacation? What's really going on? Hold on. Okay, I might sound a little out of breath, guys. I was running back and forth before the live started, trying to get stuff together. Okay, I really don't see any moderators. Are y'all serious right now? Not even the chief moderator? Wow, it's the shade of it all for me. Oh, there he is. Thank you, Desmond. I'm so glad you could join us, beloved. Where's the rest of the crew? Oh, these moderators are getting sorrier and sorrier. G from Atlanta said that crazy bitch is in the shower. Okay, you know I love that crazy bitch Aries, honey. I figured she might have been working or something. I know she had an excuse, but the rest of them, where are they? There goes Ladybug. All right, now we can get it popping. We got at least two. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get into it, honey. Let's get into it. Y'all know I'm still a little under the weather, so I had to make me some herbal tea before I got started. That's what I was doing. Okay, so let's first of all go to Inner City Press. Now, y'all know yesterday the witness Maya, okay, the mystery woman, the story that she told on the stand, and it was very interesting to say the least. Now, mind you, Armand Wiggins had an interesting take on her testimony because I watched his video. And shout out to Armand, he's doing big things. At the end of the day, Armand was talking about how she held her head down, she was shaking a little bit and wasn't talking very loud, and he just really didn't know how to take her or whatever. And I guess it was her demeanor. Maybe she was nervous or whatever. But he also said that she walked in with about 6 or 7 other women, and they were all dressed to the T. And he said that he thinks the reason she walked in with all those women is because, remember, she's supposed to be anonymous. Okay, you can't give a description of her. The person that's doing the art for the court, they were told not to do any sketches of her or anything. She wants to remain, anonymous. So anyway, he says he thinks that she brought all those other women with her so that if you see her in a crowd, you won't know which one is her. And I thought that was very smart of her to do. But now let's get into some of her testimony. So remember when she talked about Diddy throwing the spaghetti at her? Queen Sam said, did you hear Gene Deal knocked out a YouTuber? No, I didn't hear that, but I did hear that he got into it with Donuts. I didn't hear anything about a knockout, honey. I didn't hear about a knockout, child. Please let me know all about it. Listen, here is my thing. You said outside the courthouse? Well, who was it? It had to have been Donut. I mean, because who else would be beefing with Big Gene? Here's my thing. If you have a problem with somebody, now this is just me, go and speak to that person. Don't be trying to call people out, putting people on blast. Like, who does that? That is just outlandish and outrageous as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, I'm not going to get into it, honey, because I don't want anybody trying to start a beef with me, honey. Then I have to go in. Okay, Michael said, Queen, why is she allowed to remain in arms? I'm not sure who you're talking about. Armand recaps of the trial and he asked theatrical. Yes, he is very theatrical. Okay, so anyway, here's the thing. So the young lady who testified, Mia, she basically was talking about how Diddy threw a bowl of spaghetti at her, just because he was mad, because she said her cycle was on, her monthly cycle. And she asked if she could go and change, her, change her things before she went to do what he asked her to do. And he got so mad, and she said, the blood was literally running down her leg, okay? And then he threw the bowl of spaghetti at her. Diddy is crazy. I really think something's wrong with him. Now, I know that someone has said before that he was probably bipolar, but I think it's more serious than that. I think he's actually a sociopath, okay? That's not a mental health issue. That's just a character flaw, okay? That is just a character flaw. Hey, April, beloved, and thank you for being a member for 7 months. And shout out to all the royals. We love you, Queen. And I love you all right, Black. I sure do. Tanya Montana said, it was Donut. That little white guy put that rumor out. Gene doesn't like Donut because of Tisa. Gene is cool with Tisa. Well, I thought Donut was cool with Tisa after I saw him on her live the other day, and he was, being all friendly with her. And then the next thing I know, he's going in on her and Armand. Honey, I'll listen. I'm telling y'all like this, honey, I'm done with YouTube beefs. Okay, it's not even worth it. And at the end of the day, half of us don't even see each other in real life. Okay, so Michael said, "You speaking of Mia? What do you mean? Why is she allowed to stay in arms? You mean like why is she, Michael? Are you saying why is she allowed to remain anonymous? Because she's a witness." Kiki said Donut was clowning Tisa. Donut clowns everybody, honey. He really needs to stop doing that. He doesn't realize that he's creating more enemies than friends. But anyway, honey, Andrea said, our people are in the street. Hold on. Okay, so let me get back to the subject at hand. Okay, we're going to get into it. Like I said, Diddy threw the bowl of spaghetti at this woman's head, threw a computer at her that almost hit her in the face, got into a fight with his ghetto self. Now, this is just plain ghetto. How do you go to Prince's party, but you're so concerned or mad that somebody else is there that you jump on them? This is how you know Diddy has no couth. He will do it anywhere. I mean, you would think that some people, even though, you know, they can become act out of character, or they can take it to the streets or get ghetto, as we call it, or whatever, that they know how to behave in certain places and spaces. But you're going to go to a Prince party and you out here fighting in the bushes with Cassie. Honey, they said Prince's security told Diddy he had to get the H up out of there. Okay. And I can only imagine what Prince said when he found out about it. But anyway, let's get into it. First, we're going to go to Inner City Press to see what's going on here. And I, for one, am anxious to see how the defense is going to go at Mia when they do the cross-exam, because they're really doing a good job so far. I mean, this is what they're getting paid the big bucks for, but they've done a good job thus far as, you know, causing doubt or questions into most of the witnesses' testimonies, except for Deontay Nash. Okay, except for Deontay Nash and Kerry Morgan. Those are two of the best witnesses thus far, in my opinion, Deontay Nash and Kerry Morgan. Okay, so that's just my opinion. But now let's go to Inner City Press. Okay, here we go. Let's see what he has for us this morning, honey.
Okay, here we are.
Hold on, what did I just do? Hold on, guys. I clicked on the wrong thing. Let me try to back out of this and come back. Okay, here we go.
Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse. Now, day 13 of U.S. versus Sean Combs. It's Friday. It's the end of week 3. And I'll say right from the top, we're going to have another ebook out about week 3. It's already well underway, but there's still some testimony to go. Yesterday, the victim, known as Mia, people have figured out her name, and we're not reporting it even in this format. She testified all on direct about her going to work for Combs Enterprises, her 5 days in a row without sleeping when they first hired her. Sounds kind of like a cult in a way. And then several incidents of sexual assault in the closet of Diddy's place of residence, in various places, jumping on. Apparent drugging with 2 shots of vodka that made her feel totally out of it, and she woke up on a chair many hours later. This is an echo, actually, of the many civil cases we've been covering here for some time. There's case after case, many of them brought by Tony Busby, showing with a stock photograph of a date rape drug that was apparently poured into these things. So this one has legs, and so for that reason, apparently, they've decided to deploy Brian Steele on the cross. He said it'll only be an hour and a half or 2 hours this afternoon. So look for we're going to be live tweeting it. You can find it. It's going to be something else. Yesterday, just to finish that up, there was the other witness was Deontay Nash, who was in finer form than usual. First question, Donaldson, how are you, Deontay? Answer, blessed. And he went from there. But he finally did get off the stand, and Mia began. It's I don't mean to make it. It's something. I think that this is a worse witness for Combs than Cassie in a way, because you're really talking about violent, non-consensual. His defense is going to be, she kept working for me. That's going to be the defense. So we'll just have to see. Now, there are other cases in SDNY. There's even other rap-related, hip-hop-related cases that nobody cares about anymore. Remember Tekashi 6ix9ine? I know he's still out there making music. Well, the guy who carjacked him, famously, is still about to be sentenced for something else. We're going to go by a leaf blower here, and I'm sorry about that. And I'm sorry for these other cases for that reason. Now, there's another musician, Jeezy Mullah, also known as Deshaun McBean. He's in a murder for hire trial, and his co-defendant is going to be getting a delay in the trial. Will it delay his trial? There's going to be a hearing next week, and we're going to have to cover it, and we will cover it. There's K-Flock, who is a much more recent case, a drill rapper from the Bronx who's was convicted at trial with Inner City Press, I believe the only media covering it daily, and it was really something. It had cooperators. It was what I'm calling real RICO. Not to say this other thing is not terrible, but with shot people and drug dealing, and even the new crimes such as unemployment fraud and of the Arizona Department of COVID things. They did it from the Bronx.
All right. All right, you guys. So shout out to Matthew for bringing us the tea. Okay, with that all been said, listen, I have some stuff I want you all to hear this morning because we're going to have some mobsters, just like the other day when I played my friend CC, who is a former mobster, okay, talking about the RICO and all of that. But we're going to have today Sammy the Bull, Sammy Gravano the Bull, who, by the way, didn't he murder like 19 people and he's now a YouTuber? I find it all so interesting. Okay, I find it also interesting. But, that's what happens when you turn state's evidence. Okay, I'm sorry, but if I were a judge or a prosecutor, there's no way in the hell that I would let anybody who killed that amount of people get off because you told on somebody else. Okay, that's just not what would happen. But that's just me. Okay, I guarantee you somebody who looks like me would never have been able to pull that one off. But I digress. Let us continue. Okay, so here we go with the latest. Where should I start? Okay, this is from, hold on, let me scroll down. I don't want to get out of order. Okay, so 16 minutes ago, AUSA says, what do you think he meant by FABC? Then Mia says, and remember, Mia is back on the stand during direct examination. The cross hasn't started yet. Mia says, I had written a show based on my life. An assistant. It hit the press, the most I ever got. He was threatening to take that away. AUSA says, did the show ever air? She says, no. AUSA says, what did he write now? Mia says, call me now. Call me now. Call me now. Now. Then don't ever call me again. I wrote back that I'd been asleep. So he was telling her, I guess it's a email or text where he's telling her to call him right then or whatever, and she didn't because she was asleep. So now he's ticked off and saying, don't call me at all. AUSA says, is that the end of the screenshots? Mia says, yes. AUSA says, what's this? My email to Puff, then to KK. Okay, then AUSA says, did you have less access to Mr. Combs? She says, much less. Did it make your jobs easier or harder? She says, it made it almost impossible. I needed his okay for everything, but I couldn't get any responses from him. AUSA says, how did it make you feel? She says, defeated. AUSA says, what is this? She says, a note from HR to me. And then AUSA says, what's the date? She says, March 31st, 2011. The judge then says, Ms. Schmeiser, can we take the document down? I think it needs further redaction. Obviously, there was something on the document that was revealing of someone's personal or private information. AUSA says, what was happening? Maya says, I was suspended without pay. Suspended without pay for making complaints. Yeah, that sounds like Diddy. I mean, at the end of the day, it seems to me Diddy would make up any kind of excuse not to pay people that work for him. Look at all of his artists and how they call him out for being broke at this point. Okay, so now we're going to go to CNN. Okay, so about an hour ago, Judge Aaron Subramanian is on the bench and he's working through some issues with the lawyers before the jury is brought in. Now, he's discussing how he can get Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers more time with him to prepare outside of trial hours. Now, defense attorneys have previously raised concerns that their team doesn't have enough time to discuss the trial with Combs, given restrictions at the Metropolitan Detention Center. Let me tell y'all something. This is all getting set up. Okay, and I want you all to listen closely so when it all goes down, don't say that you didn't hear it here first. Now, what this is all about right here, you see how Diddy's defense team is always constantly complaining to the judge. You all know this because I told you every time I've shown you all the documents, declarations, and motions, petitions, and all of that. So that all being said, I told you what they're doing is setting up for that appeal, honey. And what they're doing right now at this point of action, they're saying that they don't even have time to discuss the trial with Diddy, given the restrictions at the Metropolitan Detention Center, where he's, currently residing. Well, You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like Diddy's appeal having something on there about inadequate counsel. Look, I want y'all to pay attention, okay? Inadequate counsel. You see, because even if your counsel is doing their job, but if they're not allowed to do certain things, or certain things are, out of their reach, or things are hindering them from doing the best of their ability, doing their due diligence, okay? Then one could say, well, this is I had inadequate counsel, didn't have effective counsel. Okay, so I just want y'all to pay attention. But anyway, let me keep going. A former employee of Sean Diddy Combs is set to resume testimony this morning in his trafficking trial. Prosecutors called a witness identified as Mia, a pseudonym being used in court to protect her identity. Okay, so we're going to go past all of that. Now, 47 minutes ago, prosecutors and defense attorneys are still discussing evidentiary issues before the jury is brought in for the day. This includes summary charts that prosecutors want to use later at trial to show the jury hotel and flight records related to the case. 41 minutes ago, Mia, a former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs, who is using a pseudonym during this trial, is back on the stand, and the jury is now entering. 23 minutes ago, Assistant U.S. Attorney Madison Smizer asked the former assistant testifying in the Sean Diddy Combs federal criminal trial why she would write "love you" text messages or in text messages to the music mogul, even after being sexually assaulted by him. She says, because it's just how we talk to each other. When the dynamic would shift to the best friend dynamic, you're just desperate to keep it there because you're safe. Honey, I wouldn't be telling somebody that did all this stuff to me nothing but "I love you, honey," at all ever. That wouldn't happen. Like, I don't know, but that just makes no sense. Some people just, I don't know, people deal with things differently. Okay, so anyway, 29 minutes ago, Mia testified that Sean Diddy Combs told her to go to South Africa with Kathy Ventura in October of 2015 while Ventura was shooting a movie. While they were there, Ventura found out Combs was cheating on her when she saw a video of him with another woman. That would be Gina Hunn, okay? She said she was devastated. They were on the phone, and then at one point, she didn't want to talk with him, so she stopped answering his calls. Mia testified that Combs tried to get her another one of his employees, or get to her by another one of his employees, Christina Corbin, aka KK, okay, and others to reach out to Ventura to get her on the phone. I was put in the middle, she says. That all seems so childish of Diddy. The stuff that they say he did, some of it was just childish to me. I mean, just things that I wouldn't think a normal, intellectual grown man would do. Getting other people to talk for you, that's just like high school. But anyway, that's my opinion. Now, Marion Suge Knight is in prison. This is from 27 minutes ago. Marion Suge Knight, an imprisoned rap icon who for decades had a relationship filled with animosity towards Sean Diddy Combs, proposed that his nemesis take the stand in his own federal trial to humanize him. Honey, that's the worst thing Diddy could ever do. Please don't listen to Suge, honey. Suge wants you to be right there with him, okay? And while the practice could do just that, it's a risky proposition. This is what Joey Jackson, CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney, told CNN's Kate Bolden. Okay, he points out that while the testimony coming out of Combs' trial has been graphic and telling of his alleged behavior, the jury needs to hear more in order to stand up for the racketeering charges against the music mogul, since it is what he is being charged with. Saying that when you put a defendant on the stand, it just becomes about him. The defense could make an argument saying, this guy's a horrible guy, but is he a racketeer? Okay, was he engaged in a continuous course of conduct that makes him a criminal of an underboss? So that's going to be the problem. And that's why you want to keep him off the stand. Now, Lisa Bonner, an attorney and former litigator, said Combs taking the stand is the most ridiculous thing that he can do. Didn't I tell y'all this when Diddy's attorney said that he wanted to take the stand? I'm like, honey, if you get on that stand, you might as well just waltz yourself right into the penitentiary, okay? So anyway, saying that it's not a good idea. There's nothing good that can come from it. Okay, and so she said that she added that the cross-examination would be brutal. I mean, of course it would. So Combs has pleaded not guilty, of course, to the charges. Okay, I'm gonna skip past all that. Okay, 3 minutes ago, the jury saw a series of messages between Mia and Sean Diddy Combs' chief of staff, Christina Coram, about Combs angrily demanding to speak to Mia so he could get to Cassie Ventura. Coram repeatedly texted and called Mia in the overnight hours while Mia and Ventura were asleep. Mia eventually answered Coram on October the 26th of 2015 after she said she spoke to Combs on the phone, saying he doesn't sound in the right mind. He doesn't sound in the right mind at the moment. Any reasoning should be in the AM, your time. This is what she wrote in response. Mia, that is. Mia testified that she spoke to Combs before sending the message. Combs was irate for getting what he was talking about, slurring quite a bit, saying irrational things. Honey, that was his demon manifested. Now, Mia said Combs was threatening my job, threatening to kill me, lots of threats, telling me he was on the phone with HR, even though I knew that wasn't true. Like, Diddy is just a fool. Do y'all hear this? Sounds like a child who can't get their way, how they just throw temper tantrums. Now, and remember, he's been doing this since he was a child. Okay, he's been throwing these temper tantrums, raising hell since he was a little kid. That's how he got the name Puffy. Okay, that's why they called him Puff, because they said he would huff and puff. Okay, like he was going to blow the damn house down when he wouldn't get his way as a kid. And here he is, a grown arse man, almost 60, and still doing the same. Okay, he was right when he said bad boy for life, DJ Big Six. Okay, please pay attention. Now, the repeated calls and texts through Coram was being pressured by Combs. Oh, so nefarious. 12 minutes ago, the jury saw messages between Sean Diddy Combs and Mia, one of the former assistants, on October 31st of 2015, when she was still in South Africa with Cassie Ventura, saying, if you don't call me now, F it all. This is Diddy, you guys. Listen, if you don't call me now, F it all. And I'm going to tell everything. And don't ever speak to me again. You got 2 minutes. F her. Call my house now and never speak to me again. F ABC and all the lawyers. Let's go to war. Now, all of this, mind you, now I want you all to pay attention. All of this because she didn't get Cassie on the phone. Are y'all listening to the bullshit? Now, he said all of this. I mean, he's talking about let's go to war. Diddy, is it that serious? These are the ramblings and rantings of a madman. There's no way I could work for this fool. Okay, no way at all I could have worked for him. DJ Big Six said he wanted her now, okay? And Nicole said, Queen, is Mia the new Jane Doe suing Diddy? No, she's the lady testifying, beloved, that doesn't want to be identified. Honey, Claudette called him a raging lunatic, okay? I mean, this is all so crazy. Who does this and goes to such extremes? And so anyway, Diddy wants to go to war. Mia testified that Combs was threatening to tell Ventura about the sexual assaults, but with a different framing, as though it was my fault or that I had a part in it. Mia said ABC had recently purchased the rights to a comedy show that she had written. She said it was the most exciting thing that ever happened in my life, and he's threatening to take that away. In the messages, Mia responded saying Ventura was busy and asking Combs to give her more time. I'm begging you. This is what she said in the messages. She just texted you. She said she just needs the time to change. Please, just be nice on the phone, please. Combs then sent a series of more than 10 messages telling her to call him before sending a message saying, in part, I've come to the conclusion that it's best that we no longer have any dealings. Honey, Diddy is a whole hot mess. Now, this is from 7 minutes ago. Mia testified that she emailed Sean Diddy Combs a few times asking him to tell her what to do after he threatened her job if she didn't leave South Africa, where she had been with Cassie Ventura while Ventura shot a movie. Now, the fees to change her flight were expensive, she says. So she emailed him that she couldn't afford it herself. She paid for her flights to South Africa with her own money. I need to make sure I'm following your instructions correctly, she said. This is what she wrote to him. Okay. And also told him that Ventura was upset and didn't want her to leave early. Combs, who didn't respond to the emails, had directed Mia to go with Ventura to South Africa. Now, she told Combs that she loved him more than once in the email. I want to stay with Cass, but I don't want to make him mad. This is what she said. I didn't want to make him mad. I'm tiptoeing. That's the way I would survive. So I didn't make him more mad or make him think that that I thought what he was doing was wrong. It didn't matter what I wanted or what anyone else wanted. It matters what he wants, and he was in charge. Honey, all these people, let me tell y'all something. Let me just make this clear right here. You see what the problem is? What the problem is with Diddy is that many of the people who were around him in his inner circle, the people that worked for him on a daily basis, you know, the people who he ordered around and all of that, some of his own artists included, Diddy, well, they allowed Diddy to talk to them disrespectfully. They allowed Diddy to threaten and intimidate them at his whim, and none of them would speak up for themselves. And if they did and he showed out, then that would be the last time they did it. Nobody checked him. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Nobody checked him. The only person that I saw even remotely come close to doing so, I would have to say, was Lori Ann Gibson. She stood up to him when some men wouldn't. And what did he do? Michael Bivins from Belle Biv DeVoe allegedly held her down while Diddy held a chair over her head in a threatening motion. And she filed a police report. But she stood up to him. She talked ish right back to him. See, and then what do you see happen to her? Okay. She stopped fooling with it. All right. But some of these people, let me tell y'all something. Some people will do anything for money. I don't want to hear these sad sob excuses when people say stuff like, oh, I couldn't get a job anywhere else. I can do this, I can do that. So you mean to tell me rather than try, you know, to get a job elsewhere, you're going to stay there and work with a devil? You're going to stay there and work with a person who is so angry, bitter, mad, controlling, insane on a regular basis, putting hands on you, throwing things at your head and your face. You've seen him bash someone upside their head to the white meat. You've seen blood gushing from Cassie's head. Seen him beating and kicking her, and you try to help, and then he throws y'all off. And I'm not just talking about those two. They tried to help, at least Mia and Deontay Nash. They actually tried to fight back. But most of these people were so scared of Diddy, they wouldn't do or say anything. They just let him just go off. And it's all so crazy. Because I'm telling you right now, if Diddy had ever put his damn hands on me, I would have picked up something and cracked his head open to the white meat and dealt with the consequences. Okay? Because one thing I am never going to tolerate from anybody is disrespect. And if I'm not disrespecting you, then damn it, don't disrespect me. I mean, the way he spoke to these people like they were trash, like they had no value. The way he ordered them around, making them work all hours of night and day without having so much as a restroom break, without being able to go get a glass of water, without having a meal. This young lady couldn't even go and change her cycles, her you know what I'm talking about, her pads or whatever she was using. She couldn't even go change that. You got to stand there humiliated, blood running down your leg. Who the hell would put up with that? Who would put up with that? That is insanity as far as I'm concerned. But this is what Diddy was allowed to do because all of these people allowed him to do it. Now, I don't know about y'all, but at the end of the day, honey, let me tell y'all something. I would have had everybody. See, I would have been the one that was a problem for Diddy. Because you know what I would have done? I would have had everybody recording everything Diddy was doing and saying, gathering receipts and evidence on him. And then by the time Diddy gets crazy, want to act crazy with me, honey, I would have had everybody jump on him and beat the hell out of him. Everybody. Let's all get it. Okay? He'd have got clobbered. I promise you that. I'd have put a bug in everybody's ear, honey. Diddy is the devil. I mean, the things that he did, now I could see if these were just, you know, some kids or something who couldn't defend themselves. These are grown-ass people, and some of these people are men. Some of these people are men, and even Kid Cudi. Here's the thing. I even think that Kid Cudi, to a degree, didn't really want to implicate Diddy when he filed the report about somebody breaking in his home and about the car being blown up, because I think that was Diddy, or not Diddy, but I don't believe that was Kid Cudi's glove in that car. I don't believe that was his glove in that car. Why was it only one? I think the officer should have tested it anyway. just to be sure. Honey, Diddy is the damn devil, okay? He's the devil. He had a lot of people scared, but see, Diddy is not no tough guy. He really is not. He's tough when he got a weapon or he's got, his thugs, his goon squad around, aka his bodyguards, or when he's beating up on a woman. That's when he's acting tough. But anyway, let me just not go into a whole rant because I'm just so done. This man is so malicious. Okay, so I'm back at Inner City Press. Let's go and see what they have to say. So 3 minutes ago, Mia says, I asked the crew to take me to land, but it was a hurricane or something. I hid on the 3rd floor. AUSA says, who spoke to you? She says, Kim. She tried to console me and said, don't worry about it. I saw Puff coming toward me and I ran and hid in the crew cabin. I mean, he has people running and hiding from him. Honey, AUSA said, did the crew take you to land in a tender boat? Mia says, yes, but then they got a call that I had to come back. AUSA says, were you able to leave the country? Mia says, no, my passport was on the boat. Puff's staff had it. So AUSA says, did you go back to the boat? She says, yeah. This all sounds real crazy. So they had her passport so she couldn't leave. Yeah, that all sounds real suspicious. Okay, so I'm going to go. Hold on. Let me read this last update from CNN from 2 minutes ago. Mia said that she tried to run away from her job working with Sean Diddy Combs before she eventually left in 2017, but it never worked. She said she felt that if she left, she would never be able to get a job somewhere else. Well, you may not have been able to get a job somewhere else in the music industry, unfortunately, because yes, Diddy could, and I'm sure did, get plenty of people blackballed. But honey, at that point, I wouldn't have wanted to work in the music industry, okay? Because there's probably a whole bunch of people just like Diddy, in my opinion. He's just the one that's on the chopping block for right now. Y'all know there's a whole bunch of other P. Diddies in all different colors, okay? Please pay attention. Now, she says he would have made sure of it. He would have destroyed my reputation. I was scared of him. Okay, so that's it for now, honey. Damn, Diddy, your ass is going to prison. I can't wait. Okay, so I'm going to go to some of these videos. This one right here, let me see here. This is a mob boss talking about the similarities between Diddy and R. Kelly. And let me just tell you all something. You know, I did a little search. I'm gonna have to do further research, but I did a little quick, hey, Silent D. I did a little quick search. Didn't do a deep dive. I'll do one later. But I just wanted to see how many Caucasian men have been indicted and convicted under RICO. Now, we're not talking about John Gotti and mob bosses. I'm talking about regular white men, like, or not even regular, but white men that are like, for example, what's the guy's name? Mike Jeffries, those types. And you know what I found? The only ones that I found of white men being convicted under that were some white Aryan brothers who were in a prison gang. They were already in prison and they were doing illegal things out of the prison. So they were hit with a RICO and were convicted. But that's somebody already in prison. So I'm like, what about some of these corporate, white men, or some of these white men in Hollywood and the music industry and all of that? I found nothing. Okay, I found nothing. Now, like I said, I'll do a deep dive just to be sure, but I found nothing. Okay, and that's probably exactly what it is. Absolutely nothing. Okay, please pay attention. So anyway, with that all being said, and I'm not saying Diddy doesn't deserve a RICO, but what I'm saying is he ain't the only one. Okay, let's be clear. All right, not just him and R. Kelly. It's a whole bunch of these no good scumbags rolling around here. Some of them are protected for various reasons. They all need to be called out.
Hi, everybody. It's Friday Eve. I always love that because, it means you got only one day left. And I know some of you call it in on Fridays, but they were not calling it in the federal courthouse in southern Manhattan today. Just when I thought things were going to lighten up in the trial of P. Diddy, and that the testimony may get a little bit more palatable, maybe boring, maybe some technical stuff like a cell phone expert or something. Nope, no. The parade of witnesses with horrible things to say about P. Diddy's behavior continue today, and today may have been one of the worst, apart from Cassie. I know I keep saying that. Yesterday it was bad because I saw a lot of crimes being testified to on the stand that lined up with RICO. Today on the stand was a witness with a pseudonym who was yet another employee of Diddy's, but this one not only said she saw horrible abuses and forced coercion and, obstruction of justice and all those kinds of things. She said she herself was also raped 3 times by Diddy. She said that her pay was pulled, for doing things like going out on her own free time because Diddy didn't want her to. The force, the coercion, the control was so highlighted by this young woman. She was too afraid to speak on the stand, barely in whispers all day long. Today, you're going to hear from the woman who prosecuted R. Kelly on RICO. Very similar. So how does she think this case is going? And then you're going to hear from Sammy the Bull Gravano, prosecuted on RICO. What does he think is happening in the P. Diddy case? Do the feds have enough to put P. Diddy away? That's all coming up. Also, in those manhunts, dang, these guys know how to stay hid. 2 of those inmates from the 10 New Orleans, escapees are still out there. Tattoo face guy and 1 other. Unbelievable. Either they have way more help than the other guys had, or they're just real smart at staying under the radar. And then the cop, not just a cop, a police chief, the rapist, murderer, police chief, that guy who somehow fashioned himself a law enforcement uniform and walked out of his cell a couple days ago. He is in the Ozarks. They call him the devil of the Ozarks. And the places where he could hide are so numerous. But is this guy old and out of shape, any match for all the really young, tough law enforcement officers that are hunting him down with dogs? You're going to get an update to that. Also, you'll find out why his kitchen job may have helped him to escape. And then remember Wade Wilson? There's a theme going on with tattoo faces, but Wade Wilson was that feller with the tattoos all over his face. Yeah, that guy. Apparently, he's got legions of girls who love him, send him all sorts of notes in prison. But suddenly, this guy who ruthlessly murdered 2 women he didn't even know is a little bit scared for his own life. Yeah, turns out on death row, Wade Wilson is scared. He's scared of the big, dangerous killers that he's housed with. 2 in particular, he says, want to kill him. And the ladies who love him, apparently they're doing everything they can to protect him. I'll tell you about that and what they're up to in just a moment. But first this, it has been a steady stream of gut-wrenching allegations since day 1 of the Diddy trial. But today, the testimony took things to a whole new level. Another one of Diddy's many assistants took the stand, and from the start, it was made pretty clear this was no ordinary witness. She was introduced simply as Mia, not her real name, and the judge warned the court, no descriptions, no sketches, which is why you don't see any facial representations, even by a sketch artist. Nothing was to be revealed about this person's identity, and whoever did would face severe consequences by the court. Why such extreme measures? Because the horrors that poured out of Mia today were raw and graphic, including multiple allegations of rape. Mia was like a frightened mouse on the stand all day long, terrified to speak up, staring straight into her lap throughout the day, afraid to make eye contact with anyone, and mostly weeping through all of her answers. Like the other assistants who testified, Mia said she witnessed Diddy's countless violent assaults against his girlfriend and his employee, music artist Cassie Ventura. Mia corroborated a terrifying night, first described on the stand by Diddy and Cassie's stylist, Deontay Nash. She said they jumped on Diddy trying to stop the beating, the relentless, forceful beating he was giving to Cassie. She testified that she saw Diddy slam Cassie's head into a bed frame, causing blood to gush from above her eye. Mia said she thought Diddy was going to kill Cassie. And when Diddy stopped, she said he then ordered Mia and another assistant to call a doctor and lie. Tell them Cassie was drunk and fell. If you're keeping score, that looks a whole lot like obstruction of justice. Mia also described the night that she and Cassie were forbidden by Diddy from leaving their hotel room, even though he planned to stay in for the night in another hotel. But the two decided to sneak out anyway to a party, one that was being hosted by Prince. I probably would.
Now, do you all hear this? Now, imagine being as grown as you are and you're having to sneak out to go to a damn party. I wish I would. Do you all hear this? Diddy treated those people like they were his children. You know, I'm starting to think that Diddy probably has a lot in common with Jim Jones. And I'm not talking about the rapper. Okay, I'm talking about that nefarious cult leader. Okay, because that's what this all sounds like. You know what? I'm starting to see some stark contrast between Diddy's behavior and Keith Rainier from the Nexium SEX cult that I reported on back in 2020. Okay, this is exactly who he sounds like. Let me look up and see if that man was charged with a RICO, because I'm pretty sure he wasn't. But let's continue.
Would have snuck out too. Mia testified that when Diddy showed up at the party held by Prince, these two girls tried to leave quickly, but that Diddy caught them and threw Cassie to the ground. She says that Prince's security team intervened before anything more serious could happen. Mia claims that Diddy was toxic and violent with her as well. She told the jury that he slammed her head into a wall, that he threw her into a pool, that he threw an ice bucket and a computer at her head, and that he repeatedly slammed her arm in a bathroom door until she thought it was broken. But nothing prepared the court for what Mia said next. Mia alleges that Diddy sexually assaulted her at least 3 different times. Again, Mia is his assistant. At Diddy's 40th birthday party, she testified that Diddy kissed her and then slid his hand up her dress, totally shocking her. Another time, she says he crept into her bedroom while she was asleep and woke him up by being on top of her. She said she froze, didn't know what to do as he forced himself on her. And then once she testified while on the floor of his closet, packing his clothes for his business trip, she says he came into that closet right up to her face with his groin and then forced her to perform oral sex. Mia says she never told anybody or reported the attacks out of fear that she would be physically harmed and out of fear that she had signed a non-disclosure agreement. Again, she's his employee. She also said that Diddy threatened to, quote, tell everybody, including Cassie, that she'd had sex with him. Mia said she thought they would think she'd initiated it. She told the jury, quote, I knew his power and I knew his control over me. I didn't want to lose everything that I had worked so hard for, end quote. The allegations are just despicable. But here's the question. Are they proof of RICO, racketeering, influenced, corrupt organization? If anybody knows, it is my next guest, Maria Cruz Melendez. She's a former federal prosecutor for the Eastern District of New York. She investigated and convicted R. Kelly on, you guessed it, RICO charges. She also prosecuted multiple organized crime cases and secured the conviction of members of La Cosa Nostra. Maria, welcome to the show. It's so good to have you. I can't believe the number of naysayers that I don't know if you're watching the media coverage and the analysis on the Diddy trial. I'm following it moment to moment, and I see RICO left, right, and center. But so many people who are smart lawyers say, nope, nothing to see here. What do you think?
I think there are a couple of things. I think it's tough to ask the question about whether or not the government has proven RICO, particularly so early on. I know there was a lot of commentary very, very early on. And when you're first getting the victim's statements about things, I think it's very easy to say, well, the victim is just talking about domestic violence or assault issues that are more state law types of issues. However, I think, and you mentioned this in your opening, the fact that Mia has testified to information that she obtained as a person who worked for Sean Combs, which means she was inside of the enterprise that has been charged by the government. And so in that situation, I think she provides powerful evidence that can be used by the government to show that an enterprise existed and that the enterprise was used, including herself, in order to engage in the conduct that's been alleged. One of the other things I would just quickly note as well is that in this case, RICO itself, substantive RICO, hasn't been charged. Racketeering conspiracy is what has been charged. And so what the government needs to show is that Sean Combs agreed with at least one other person to engage in racketeering. And so they don't have to prove specific racketeering acts in the way that you would need to if you would charge substantive racketeering.
Do you see a lot of similarities between the R. Kelly case and the Diddy case? Because everybody wants to compare, this particular case to the mob, and they say there's no similarity between them. What about R. Kelly?
Yeah, there's certainly parallels. You have a high-profile defendant who's alleged to have used his legitimate business and the people around him, his circle of people, whether that's friends, colleagues, but also individuals who specifically worked for him, assistants, runners, security, in order to make sure that he was able to commit the crimes that have been alleged. And I think some of the testimony that has happened this week in particular demonstrates the ways in which that he used individuals at his disposal in order to maintain control over individuals like Cassie Ventura.
Yeah, I keep hearing evidence of coercion, control, fear. I'm also hearing obstruction of justice.
Okay, so let's pause for a second. Now I want you all to pay attention. Now, you all know what R. Kelly was charged with and what R. Kelly was convicted of. Okay? So that all being said, they're always comparing R. Kelly to Diddy, but they don't compare Keith Raniere to Diddy. And I'm going to get into some stuff about him soon. But this is what I want you all to pay attention to, because see, there are the specific crimes under the RICO Act. The crimes that are covered under the RICO Act. Remember, I told you that you only need to have committed 2 of these predicate crimes in a 10-year span. Those crimes include things like murder, robbery, terrorism, arson, burglary, theft, counterfeiting, forgery, money laundering, illegal gambling, prostitution, criminal usury, drug distribution, illegal weapons trafficking, unlawful use of weapons or destructive devices, bribery, mail or wire fraud, insurance fraud, embezzlement, extortion, kidnapping, human trafficking, trafficking, terroristic threats, and on and on. Okay, so has Diddy committed any of these? Well, I'd have to say yes. Okay, because he broke in Kid Cudi's house. We know he was there. Okay, we saw the bad boy tag that the officer showed in court. Okay, bribery. The security guard said Diddy tried to bribe him. Okay, and then extortion. Well, he definitely tried to extort Cassie's mom. And then the kidnapping. Now, if Capricorn Clark is telling the truth, and I believe she is, that she was taken to the Kid Cudi's house at gunpoint, forced to go there against her will, well, that's kidnapping. Okay? And also them taking her to that warehouse every day for 5 days to take this stupid lie detector test is also kidnapping. All right? At the end of the day. I mean, she couldn't get out until they gave her permission to do so. Okay, then let's not forget prostitution. Diddy has absolutely hired male prostitutes. All right? Arson, yes. Kid Cudi's car being blown up. Now, we can't prove Diddy did it, but we all know that Diddy did it or got someone to do it. Okay, so I'm telling y'all right now, Diddy has a RICO. Okay, please pay attention, but let's keep listening. Now, we're going to get into Keith Raniere after this. Let me look for some more updates.
Justice, I'm hearing bribery, I'm hearing all these predicate acts, right? But still, so many analysts are saying, no, there's no enterprise here. Where do you see the enterprise coming in with Diddy as compared to the enterprise that came in with R. Kelly?
Yeah, the enterprises, I think, are similar as well. Something that people sometimes confuse about racketeering is that they think that the enterprise has to be criminal. With racketeering, that's not the case. You can have a legitimate enterprise. And the question is whether or not that legitimate enterprise, which can be a business, is being used in order to commit the pattern of racketeering that's been charged. And with racketeering enterprises, it can be as informal as a pickup basketball team. So as long as individuals are associated in fact and they're engaging in the pattern of racketeering that's alleged, then you've got an enterprise. And so the fact that Sean Combs has a business that functioned where he had individuals who were at his disposal, and to the extent he used assistants or other individuals who worked for him, who were in his orbit, in his circle, then I think an enterprise can be, and I think we've heard a lot of evidence that shows an enterprise has been proven.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? I think a lot of people also don't know that the feds can use the language knowing or unknowing in terms of committing a crime. So some of these assistants who may have been dispatched to commit a crime, let's just say Uncle Paulie, the testimony that Uncle Paulie took poor Capricorn Clark to a vacant building and threatened that she was going to swim with the fishes in the East River, and told her she had to take lie detector tests for 5 days. Sounds to me like Uncle Paulie should have known that's kidnapping. But even if Uncle Paulie didn't know it was kidnapping, there's the knowing and unknowing aspect of it, isn't there?
Absolutely. Individuals who are members of the enterprise, that label doesn't mean that you yourself know that criminal activity is happening or that you've engaged in criminal activity. It means that you, in particular instances, it means that you yourself have provided some sort of an assistance to the individual who's being charged with racketeering.
Hold on, let me stop right here, because did I hear this lady right? I'm sorry, you guys, I'm multitasking, looking for updates. But did I hear this lady right? I'm going to roll it back just to see. Did she say that you don't have to prove the enterprise is criminal? You just have to prove there's an enterprise? Is that what she said? Somebody let me know. Is that what she said? Is that what she said? Because in RICO, you do have to prove. That's one of the first things. Okay, that's the first thing you have to prove. You have to prove the existence of a criminal enterprise. I know I didn't hear her right. Please tell me she didn't say what I think she said, because it sounded like she said that you just have to, have an enterprise. It doesn't have to be criminal. Girl, bye. That's not true. Hold on, let me rewind this back, because I don't want to go in on this lady.
An enterprise has been proven.
Hold on, there we go. Hold on. Let me go back just a little bit more.
Sounds to me like Uncle Paulie should have known that's kidnapping. But even if Uncle Paulie didn't know it was kidnapping, there's the knowing and unknowing aspect of it, isn't there?
Absolutely. Individuals who are members of the enterprise, that label doesn't mean that you yourself know that criminal activity is happening or that you've engaged in criminal activity. It means that you, in particular instances, it means that you yourself have provided some sort of an assistance to the individual who's being charged with racketeering. And so in this situation, you've got Sean Combs using security, using assistance, using anyone who's at his disposal as part of his organization and his business in order to engage in the charged conduct. I think one of the things we heard from Mia that's been reported is that she said at one point she didn't provide information or she didn't tell law enforcement, and that at certain times she didn't say no to Sean Combs because of the way he reacted if she had said no to bringing him a sandwich. And so I think she certainly had very, very strong testimony that suggested that he not only used and coerced Cassie Ventura, but also when it came to his assistants like Mia, also exerted control via humiliation, physical abuse, and other forms, including financial form. I think you mentioned earlier the fact that he threatened her pay during certain instances. And so all of these things have been alleged as the means and method of racketeering, is that they think that the enterprise has to be criminal. With racketeering, that's not the case.
That's what I thought she said. She's a lie. She is a lie, okay? With a RICO, the enterprise does have to be criminal. Lady, what the hell are you talking about? Now, I want you all to pay attention to her demeanor, because it just looks to me like she doesn't know what she's talking about. Another thing is, she not only is incorrect when she's saying that the enterprise has to be criminal. Doesn't have to be criminal. That's false. It does have to be criminal. They have to prove the existence of a criminal enterprise, okay? Second of all, She said that the participants, they don't have to know that they're involved in a criminal enterprise. That is false. Because the participants, and let me just tell you all this, the people that have testified against Diddy and been granted immunity, those people, if they had been tried, they likely would not have been convicted anyway, because those people didn't know at the time, I'm sure, that they were working for a criminal enterprise. Okay? They thought they were just living their dreams, just being an assistant to somebody in the music industry who had fame and power and all of that. They didn't sit down and say together, you know, like the mob bosses do at a table and say, you know, this person's going to get made next week and I need you to go over here and do this and that. No, these people are not John Gotti and the Gambino family. Okay? These people did not know that they were actively working for an AKA mob boss named Diddy, and that he was running a criminal enterprise. They didn't sit down and agree to that. That's not what they signed up for. And I want you all to think about it, because at the end of the day, we all know that when people are in the mafia, they already know what time it is. They already know what the mob's all about and what they're going to be doing. And they voluntarily agree. They would voluntarily agree to engage in criminal conduct with this organization, just as well as gang members. Okay, when they get in a gang, you already know that you're going to be involved in nefarious things, doing illegal activity. So you agree to that when you join a gang. But these people trying to get regular jobs, no, they didn't know that. But she's sitting here saying that they don't have to know. Well, at the end of the day, for you to be convicted of a RICO, yeah, you have to know and have agreed to be have been involved in a criminal enterprise to be convicted. Okay. I mean, even though, to be honest, to be fair, the specific level of knowledge, you know, required varies, because you may not know everything. But see, here's the trick. The prosecution just has to demonstrate that the defendant understood the general nature and scope of the enterprise. Okay? Even if they didn't know every detail of its operations, they had to know something nefarious was going on. Okay? So I'm sorry, ma'am. You don't know what you're talking about, lady. Let me just skip past her because I've heard enough of the BS. Okay, we're going to try to fast forward to Sammy Gravano.
So much for this. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you again soon.
And I'm going to tell you right now, so one thing about News Nation is they have very non-credible people on here. Okay, when you think about it, they had that guy on here who's done 10 years in the feds, and now he's all of a sudden a prison consultant with his silly self on here saying all the dumb stuff, just clout chasing. Honey, he doesn't have any degrees, doesn't know what in the hell he's talking about. He can only speak for his own experience. Okay, he is not no damn prison guru, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, that's just a way to give a job to a thug, and so he can go around and act like he's schooling somebody. Please miss me with it. Dr. Doom said, if the participants don't have to know, then every time a criminal catch an Uber away from the scene, buy lunch from a waitress, or pull money from a bank teller to fund the crime, those helpers are RICO. Exactly. Okay, we'd all be in a RICO right now, beloved. Exactly. Make it all make sense. Okay? She said you don't have to know. Just imagine. Some of us could have worked previously or could be working right now for somebody who's doing some shady stuff. You know, not to the extent of Diddy, but I'm just saying some things that could be or target or, you know, that could start a RICO investigation. And you mean to tell me if you didn't know anything, you're going down? Like, man, get out of here. This lady don't know what the hell she's talking about, okay? I don't know why they bring these fools on here trying to give people advice. All disinformation.
I hope, coming up next. As Diddy looks to avoid this racketeering conviction, it might pay to study the past, because the roadmap out of a RICO charge may already exist, made by the Teflon Don himself, John Gotti. The man who brought Gotti down is my next guest. But does Sammy the Bull Gravano think the feds have enough on Diddy to get him on racketeering? That is next.
Okay, so let's take a quick poll. Now, who do you all like better? John Gotti or Sammy Gravano? Which do you all like better? One's for Sammy, one's for John Gotti, Twos for Sammy the Bull. Let's see what y'all talking about. Ones in the chat if you preferred John Gotti. Twos for Sammy the Bull. Let's see what y'all talking about. I'm anxious to see this. No, Sandra didn't put a 3. Sammy, sit down somewhere. Or Sandra. Okay, I see the ones. So y'all like mobsters? Is that what y'all like? Y'all been watching too many mob movies, clearly. Okay, at the end of the day, yes, I would have to agree. Okay, I would have to agree. Sammy the Bull needs to sit down somewhere, honey. He done sat there and snitched on his own boss. He done snitched on his own boss. I don't think so, Sammy. Okay, I don't respect that. Now, you've been sitting up here committing crime after crime for this man under his orders, getting paid to do so, and now you want to tell on him? I bet you, John Gotti didn't have 19 bodies on it. Okay, just saying. But anyway, let's continue. Hold on, let me look for these updates real quick. Okay, nothing from Inner City Press for 30 minutes. Oh, honey, it must be getting juicy over there. Because y'all know when it gets real juicy, that's when he doesn't post for a minute. And I have to sit here and wait and wait. That's why I had to start going to CNN also. Dr. Doom said Sammy the Bull's daughter was in that Mob Wives TV show. Honey, you know, I know. Karen, she got into the fight with Drea, honey, and Drea mocked her. Okay, I didn't know Drea could fight. But honey, Drea wasn't playing no games. Okay, that was my favorite scene right there. That fight was epic, honey. Please pay attention. Of course, I stopped watching after Big Ange died, and the show was canceled shortly after. Okay, so that all being said, here we go. Now, we left off, and this is from CNN, we left off with Mia saying that she was afraid he would destroy her reputation. Okay, so 11 minutes ago, Mia testified about a 2016 meeting that she had with Brian Offit, who was then the chief operating officer of Combs Enterprises. At the time, Mia was working for Revolt Films, which was part of Combs Enterprises. Let me tell you all something crazy about what that lady said, too. She's talking about you don't have to have a criminal enterprise. You just have to have an enterprise. If that were the case, they could just start targeting anybody who has enterprises, who owns an enterprise. Okay? Think about how stupid that sounds. Anyway, out of the blue, he just said, I hate to tell you this, but I talked to Mr. Combs and he no longer wants to be involved with the film. So he basically wants to end Revolt Films. This is what Mia said. Wow, Diddy is low down. She said she was in shock and felt confused because Combs had recently told her the film company was the only one that had made money that year. She said she also felt betrayed and rejected by the fact that Combs wasn't telling her himself. Mia said that she had been working on a Bad Boy documentary at the time of the meeting, and she continued to work on the documentary through early 2017 before she left. She said Combs and other employees reached out to her after the documentary was finished, and she was too heartbroken to answer. Just shattering dreams. Diddy, you dog. Okay, 10 minutes ago, Mia testified that she was on a yacht with Sean Diddy Combs, Kim Porter, and his family off of St. Bart's for New Year's Eve 2010 or into 2011. Combs angrily told her to get off the boat because she was counting the money in his safe too slowly. What? I mean, Diddy, do you all hear this stuff? Diddy would just get mad about the smallest, the most minuscule of things. So you're going off because she's counting the money too slow? She says, he told me you better learn to walk on water like Jesus, bitch. Get the F out of here. That's what he told her. I think Diddy got his rocks off just talking crazy to people and trying to humiliate and embarrass them publicly. Okay, that's what it sounds like. Do y'all hear this? Told her she better learn to walk on water like Jesus, bitch. First of all, using Jesus' name right before a curse word is diabolical. That's for number one. Okay, American Isness said that's when you quit. Exactly. This man is insane. Anyway, he told her, get the F out of here. I bet you that's the same yacht he was on when he allegedly broke Kim Porter's nose. Just from the sounds of his anger, Mia hid on the boat away from Combs before she eventually got a crew member to take her to shore. Once she got there, the yacht crew radioed saying Combs wanted her back on the boat. Now he wants her back on the boat. This is bipolar at its best, okay? So anyway, said she got radioed, the yacht crew radioed, saying Combs wanted her back on the boat. Mia testified she didn't want to, but obeyed his orders. Honey, I would have not gone back. Plans quickly changed again, and Combs threatening Mia's job, said she had to go with him on a jet to Las Vegas. She testified she thought she would be fired, so she went. Honey, let me tell you something. Diddy would have had, ooh, baby, when I tell you, this is all so nefarious. I just wish like Ray J, if I had one wish, I wish I could have worked for Diddy for a week. When I tell you the hell and havoc I would have wreaked on his arse and he wouldn't even know until I was gone. Okay, Mia testified she hired employment attorneys in 2017 to help her negotiate a severance and bonuses, leading to months of negotiations. She said Christina Corbin, the former chief of staff for Sean Diddy Combs, spoke with her on behalf of Combs, who believed Mia stabbed him in the back by hiring the lawyers. Mia's attorneys originally made a settlement of $10 million to Combs and his companies, as she testified. So they made a settlement offer of $10 million. After a months-long negotiation process, Mia said they settled for around $400,000 and she received about $200,000. Around that time, Mia said she told some people about the violence she endured from Combs during her employment, but didn't mention the sexual assaults. She testified that she would have died with that information if it weren't for Combs' federal criminal case. Ooh, honey. Looks like the chickens are coming home to roost, Diddy. You devil. Let me continue. Let me ask y'all something. Before I read this next one. Queen Sam said, you know Christina ain't itch and should be sitting right there beside Diddy. Oh, yeah, honey, but I heard they can't even find her arse. Nicole said Queen would have been solved and closed this case. We will be on to the next criminals that need to be convicted. Okay, thank you, beloved. Listen, this is just all so ghastly. Okay, I was going to ask y'all something, but I'll get back to that in a minute. Now, this is from 2 minutes ago. The next time Mia spoke to Sean Diddy Combs after the settlement was when Kim Porter, the mother of his 3 children, died in November of 2018. She said she reached out to him occasionally, like on Porter's birthday or when his close friend passed away. She says, I felt so terrible for him and his family. Mia said that she and Cassie Ventura, Combs' former girlfriend, still keep in touch, but the frequency of their conversations vary. She said that they last spoke on the phone about a month ago, and she recently texted a few days ago. She confirmed they have not discussed their testimony in the case. All right, so that's it for now from CNN. Now let me see what they have. Okay, here come 2 more updates from Inner City Press. AUSA says, D-Rock asked, how can I send you something? What did you think he meant? Mia says, money. I said, no. I'm always ready to help. I'm always ready to help y'all out. AUSA says, he wrote, I'm allowed to send my sister a gift, did he? Mia says, no. AUSA says, what did you think D-Rock was trying to do? She said, find out for Puff if I was a threat. AUSA says, did Mr. Combs text you in February of 2024? She says, yes. He said, call me when you have 10 minutes, love. Honey, I would have immediately gotten suspicious. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Puffy, she hasn't talked to him since when? And then all of a sudden in February of 24, he texts her talking about call me when you have 10 minutes, love. Now, first of all, that's very suspicious because did we know you're not nice and sweet? Okay, Miss Hurt with it. Okay, she said, AUSA says, and this one on February the 7th of 2024, Mia said, he said, I need my memory jogged. Oh, honey, what was this all about? Was Diddy trying to intimidate witnesses or find out if she was going to testify? I wonder what he was up to. Okay, AUSA says, did you respond? Mia says, no, I didn't want anything to do with him. He was the person I was traumatized by. I knew that this was a front. AUSA says, was this the last message? Mia said, I think so. I got some, and then still objects before she can finish her statement. I don't know what she was about to say. She said, I got some, and then didn't even finish because Brian still stood up and said, objection. And then the judge said, sustain. Honey, let us get the scoop. Why don't you? Okay, do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Diddy, you are going down, honey. Going down. Now, this is from CNN 1 minute ago. After Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs in November of 2023, Combs' longtime security guard, known as D-Rock, texted Mia for the first time in 2 years. He wrote a lot has been going on and said he would call her. On the call, D-Rock brought up the lawsuit. Then, she says, then he changed it to, yeah, it's real crazy what's going on. She recalled him saying, because, like Puff and Cass, they would just fight like a normal couple. Now, you already know where this is going, right? Diddy put him up to it. Call her just to see what she's going to have to say about it in case they call her to testify. Didn't work, Diddy, and now you're being exposed. But let me continue. Said, yeah, because it's real crazy what's going on. Because, like Puff and Cass, they would fight, like a normal couple. Honey, what normal couple do you know has freak-offs for 4 days straight? Okay? And then gets into brutal fights when the other partner doesn't want to be involved in the freak-off any longer. And then has people putting golden showers down someone's throat. Beats somebody up in a hotel, drags them by their hair around the corner of the hotel, throws a vase. Is that normal to anybody? Okay? And then has to get IV injections to be hydrated because y'all have done so many rugs with a D and drank so much alcohol that you can barely stand up straight. Honey, ain't nothing about your lifestyle normal, Diddy. Please sit down somewhere. A normal couple. But anyway, anything but, okay? Dysfunctional, toxic, extremely dangerous, living on the edge couple is what they were. Mia testified that her radar went off because she knew D-Rock had witnessed Combs be violent with Ventura and that it was absolutely not normal. Mia testified that D-Rock then said he had just landed in Miami to join Combs, who wanted to talk to her. She said it was her impression that Combs wanted her to make a public statement on his behalf. She never answered Combs' calls. Mia said when Combs called her, she threw her phone as far as it would go and ran outside. Damn, she must really be scared of him. Y'all hear this? She said when he called her, she threw her phone as far as it could go and then ran outside. She's clearly traumatized. Okay, if she did all that. She says, it was just so triggering to see that. It was just a reaction, she said. Honey, I wouldn't have thrown my phone, but now she knew Diddy was up to no good. Now all of a sudden, here he comes, lurking around. After all this information has come out on him, after the curtain has been pulled back and everything's been revealed, and we find out who you really are, you super freak, Diddy. Okay? Now he's trying to do some damage control, trying to get some people on his side who he knows will likely be called to testify against him. Okay, Diddy, you're going down, honey, and I can't wait. I absolutely cannot wait. You know what else I can't wait for? I'm so glad you asked. For Dwayne Keefedy Davis to go to trial. You know they postponed it. He was supposed to go to trial March of this year, but now they have postponed it to February the 6th of 2026, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, 2026. I'll be waiting for that too. I'll definitely be waiting. Okay, so now as we wait for further updates, let's go back to this video.
Earned Gotti the nickname the Teflon Don. He was on trial for the mob assassination of Gambino crime boss Paul Castellano. It happened outside of New York Steakhouse in December of 1985. The murder made headlines across the country and cleared the way for Gotti to assume control of the Gambino crime family, making him the most powerful mob boss in the USA. And that sway helped him to win his court case, because what the prosecution didn't know was that Gotti somehow made his way onto the jury. He had a man on the inside, juror number 11. His name was George Pape. He sold his vote on the jury for $60,000.
Damn, that's it?
Pape had reached out to Sammy the Bull Gravano, who was helping to run the Gotti organization while the boss was locked away. And after almost 6 months of trial, John Gotti walked out of federal court a free man. But feds did not give up. In 1990, Gotti was charged with racketeering again. But this time, it was the feds who had their inside man. That man was Sammy the Bull Gravano, the same underboss who negotiated the deal with juror number 11 back in 1987. Sammy the Bull testified against Gotti and sent Gotti to prison for life without parole. But it came at a cost because Sammy the Bull had to enter the witness protection program soon after the trial, although he left that program after just 8 months. In 1997, a book called Underboss was written about his life, and Sammy the Bull Gravano joins me live now.
That man is still a criminal. Okay, he was involved in an ecstasy trafficking thing down there in Arizona. Okay, still doing criminal activities. Please pay attention.
I have been waiting to talk to you. Thank you so much for doing this tonight. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. There was a few things I'd like to correct the statement. I mean, I was the guy.
Yep.
I rigged the trials for John Gotti. I bribed jurors. That $60,000 fee, I paid him $60,000 in cash and got him a job as a Teamster foreman that he made $75,000 a year. So, and then at the end, when I did cooperate, he got arrested and he pled guilty and admitted to everything I'm saying right now. So that's how we beat the case.
Well, there's a reason.
Now, isn't that dirty? Do y'all hear this? Isn't that dirty? So he done sat up here and paid this man 60 bands, plus got him a job with the Teamsters Union. So the man would, you know, flip the jury so Gotti could get off. But then when he started working for the feds, you mean tell me he told on the man? Now that's a damn rat if ever I saw one. Why'd you have to tell on him? Why'd you have to bring him into it? See, that's what I'm talking about. You can't trust a snake because a snake is going to bite you eventually. I don't give a darn how nice you treat it. Okay, please pay attention. Now, I'm not saying the man shouldn't have gotten in trouble or what he did was valid. Of course, it was not. But there's probably some hardworking person who was desperate for money at the end of the day. And he just sat there and told on the man and John Gotti. Now he's sitting up with a whole YouTube channel making all this money. Sammy the Bull, you need to sit down somewhere. But let's get back into it. This is all nefarious.
Reason, you know, there's a reason that there are countless books and movies and Broadway shows and plays all about the actions and activities of the mob. And it's because it's transfixing the things that went on. But I am curious if you, having gone through it all, having been pulled under the RICO statute and been locked away yourself, do you see that racketeering applies in what you're hearing out of Diddy's case so far?
Yeah, parts of it. The racketeering law is a very complicated law. I was arrested a couple of times under RICO, and a couple of times I testified in cases that the RICO law was used. And it's easy to understand when you're using it against the mafia or cartel or, an organization like that, a criminal organization. This is a different form of the RICO, where the organization is where Diddy had his company, he used that as a criminal organization.
Court's on a short break, beloveds. Okay, court is on a short break. Defense attorney Brian Steele will start the cross-exam right after. Okay, I'll keep you posted.
But it's going to be a little hard to understand for a lot of people because it was confusing. Lawyers were confused about it. I'm a little confused about it. I think they have a clear-cut case without the RICO case. I mean, what this guy did is disgusting. I don't think there's a person alive, a man or a woman, especially women, who are not going to hate this guy. Whatever he did was completely disgusting. It's beyond criminal. I don't even know what it is. I look at it like
Now, I'm not trying to be funny, you guys, but this man done took out 19 people and got the nerve to sit up here and talk ish about Diddy. Imagine that. Okay, imagine that. I'm trying not to laugh because I still have a cold. But imagine that. He's sitting up there. You done took out 19 people, sir, and you trying to talk about Diddy and everybody hates him? Sir, I bet the family members of the people you murdered hate you, but let's let him cook.
He disgraced everybody. He disgraced the black race by being a black man. I know a lot of black people and they hate him for it because it painted a picture towards all of them. I think it's being followed all over the world. If he's not found guilty or he's cut free or he does a short amount of time, I mean, I could only imagine what the whole world would think. This is a disgusting country. So there's a lot of things.
Now, I'm going to agree with him right there. He said this is a disgusting country, that people will think that. Well, sir, I have to agree with you on that point. It is a disgusting country. Anytime somebody who murdered almost 20 people, okay, can get out of prison, still commit more and more crimes. Now, I want you all to pay attention, because he said that he had been arrested for RICO. How many times? Several times, more than once. But here he sits free. R. Kelly's in prison for 30 years. But this man done murdered 19 people, count them. And then he's sitting up here bragging about that he had several RICO arrests. Okay? Yeah, this country is disgusting. Absolutely is. I have to agree. But let's continue.
Sammy, if you would give me your comparison. I mean, listen, guys in the mob did some terrible, terrible things. The murders were gruesome and violent and painful, and they served a purpose. They were meant to terrify people into staying in line, right? Compare that to the things that you've heard alleged from the witness stand and testimony under oath from a lot of these young women and some of the young men who were his assistants. Compare the guys in the mob to the stuff you're hearing alleged against Diddy.
If we did that in the mob, we would be killed for it. We would never touch women and children and stuff like that. So that's against our rules, our principles. We would never get away with something like that. There was a guy, Roy DeMeo and Gas Pipe, who became serial killers, killing for no reason, and they were killed. So, I mean, if he was in the mafia, he would, and we knew what he was doing, he would have been killed. There would be no trial.
Interesting. So what if he is convicted? And that is a long way. We're it's a 9-week trial. We're only 2 weeks into it. We're only in the prosecution's case. So obviously it looks bad for Diddy right now. If he's convicted, what would his life in federal lockup be like, given the evidence that we've been hearing about him and the way he treated women?
He's going to be treated like a in plain English. I mean, that's what they're going to do with him. They don't like child molesters in prisons. This is very, very similar. Listen, we're all men. We have wives. We have daughters. We have granddaughters. When you hear this, it's going to turn your stomach. So I'm sure women will feel that way, and I'm sure most men will feel that way. So it's one thing to have these sexual parties and do what you want, swingers, but he took that to a whole nother level. I mean, there's women who didn't go along. Some women went along with it. Most of them did. He gave them drugs and stuff like that. They were unconscious. By the time they woke up, they don't even know who did what. This is, I've never seen or heard anything like it in my life.
You know, Diddy's a billionaire. His defense is going to bleed a lot of money out of him, but $1 billion is a lot more. Some have said that money will buy him anything he needs in prison. It will buy him friends. It will buy him protection. It will buy him influence. Do you think that the money can leapfrog the other issues that you just said, that he will be considered, on the lowest rung, given the crimes that we've heard alleged in this trial?
Now, it's true. Money talks in prison. He could buy a little bit of a protection, but they'll use him. Nobody will like him. They'll use him, but some guys are broke in prison, and they'll cater to him a little bit, maybe protect him so that they're getting money. It's going to be hard for him to get money into prison. I don't care if he's got billions or whatever it is. It's still got to come in through the prison system. And they're only going to allow a certain amount of money coming in. They're not going to allow huge amounts of money. And there's warnings, there's people watching these things that go on in prison. So he's not going to just be able to buy everybody in the job.
Some people in prison who want money from other inmates, they have the inmates send the money to their family to help them pay bills and whatnot. And also the family can send money to them, put money on their books. But let's keep listening.
They'll see that, they'll stop it, they'll put a stop to it. He'll have some use of some money, but not big money. And people will hate him regardless, no matter how much money he has on the outside. Like I said, it's not going to get in that easy. They'll monitor all that.
Well, and again, he's innocent until proven guilty, and we're only 2 weeks into the trial. I have one more question for you that I've been dying to ask you all these years. I know you were living this lifestyle. I know this was your world, but you've been out of it for a long time. And are you 19 murders? I'm trying to remember. Was it 19 murders that you committed?
Yeah. No, I didn't commit 19 murders. I was involved in 19 murders. Sometimes I was the planner, sometimes I was the shooter, sometimes I was just, there's different on a hit.
Man, sit your ass down somewhere. You know damn well, don't start trying to explain now. You know damn well you killed 19 people, whether you planned it, whether you set the whole thing up, whether you went and got the shooters, were the shooter, was the getaway driver, sir. Okay, you killed 19 people. Those 19 people are dead because your ass was a part of it. You were a participant, sir. Don't try to clean it up. Okay, don't try to clean it up. 19 people, and this man is on YouTube. I want y'all to marinate on that. And then the YouTube got the nerve to have the Queen shadow ban. Please pay attention. While murderers can make millions. But let's continue.
There's a lot of different people, positions that you play. So I didn't kill 19 people. Sounds like I killed them all. I never woke up one morning and wanted to kill somebody. I usually had orders to do it like a soldier would have.
I know damn well he didn't compare himself to a soldier. Do you all hear this? Now, this is really about to tick me off. This man sat up here and said that he didn't wake up wanting to do it. He had orders like a soldier. Don't compare yourself to no damn soldier. Soldiers fight for their country to protect our freedoms and privileges. Okay, please miss me with it. And here's the thing. He damn sure did wake up each day wanting to kill somebody. You know why? And how I know? Because he was getting paid thousands to do it. He was a professional hitman for the mob. So you think that he didn't wake up every day wanting to be able to kill somebody? Of course. That's how he made a bulk of his money. Like, he can miss me with it, sitting here talking all this smack and trying to minimize his culpability. Okay? Isn't that something? And comparing himself to a soldier. I know he didn't. Okay, you can't compare yourself to my damn uncle, okay, who retired from the Navy. You can't compare yourself to my brother, okay, who was in the National Guard. Like, dude, sit down somewhere. That's what you can't do. But let me continue, honey.
And I never, we didn't kill women. We didn't kill children. And I never killed an innocent man. It was somebody who was in the mafia, who took the oath. You live by the oath or you die by the oath.
Okay, now he's sitting here talking about he never killed an innocent man. Okay, well, sure, he'd say that. But first of all, who was he to dictate whether or not they were guilty or innocent? Was he the judge, jury, and executioner? Of course he was. I want y'all to really marinate on this. It is very telling. But this is the judicial system that we live under in America. And I want you to marinate on the fact that Carmelo Anthony, the 17-year-old who now just turned 18 recently, took the life of Austin Metcalf. May Austin rest in peace. Condolences to his family. But he took his life in self-defense. Okay? And they want to give him 40 years to life. Well, this one right here took out 19 people and is walking free. Still has committed numerous of crimes even after he was set free. And now up here on YouTube. And I just still can't believe it. But let's continue. Let's let him rock.
So you break the rules and you die. Now, if you don't have
so no regrets?
Excuse me?
No regrets?
Nope, because he's a cold-blooded killer.
That's the rules and that's the life you live by. I was in the military as well. And there was rules. I was taught to kill the enemy.
Now you see how he keeps trying to... Y'all see how he keeps trying to put the military in there? I was in the military as well, and I was taught to kill. Man, if you don't get out of here, that is not the same, okay? Yeah, he should be locked. He should have gotten a death penalty. Okay? And even if they were going to use him to bring down John Gotti, he should not have been allowed to be free, go into the witness protection. You done murdered 19 people. That man should have gotten, he still should have gotten a hefty sentence. He should have been facing the death penalty. And the best he should have gotten for a plea deal for snitching on Gotti would have been that he should have gotten at least life in prison instead of the death penalty, or at least 30 or 40 years. How do you get your ass out and walk free? And then here's the thing. When he walked free and when he committed more crimes, how the hell is he still free? Because shouldn't he have gotten life after that? Considering all that he did prior? Like, this stuff really gets on my damn nerves, honey. But I just want y'all to pay attention, honey, because this is not our world. We're just squirrels trying to get a nut.
There's no regrets in doing that. You're fighting in a war. This is the same exact thing. If you can't have rules that you got a lot of tough guys in the mafia, whether it's the black mafia, the Italian mafia. Now, if you don't have rules.
Hold the hell up. Hold the hell up. Did he say whether it's the black mafia or where the hell is the black mafia, man? Where is there a black? Do y'all hear that? I want you all to pay attention to how he keeps trying to weave black people in this. When he said the black people is mad at Diddy. First of all, who is he to speak for us? Shut your damn mouth. If we're mad at Diddy, we'll say it. We don't need you to be our spokesperson, trick. Second of all, do you notice how he just said the black mafia or the Italian mafia? There is no black mafia, fool. Black people have never had a mafia that went around doing the stuff y'all were doing. Miss me with it. And I know he's not talking about no BMF Dr. Doom, because you know damn well BMF Black Mafia family is not actually a mafia. They were not actually a mafia. So he could miss me with it. But let's continue.
Where you die if you break the rules. How do you control them? You lose control of them.
I have been so fascinated. I could talk to you for hours, and I'm going to ask you to come back because I think this trial is going to go on for a while.
Sure, get his ass out of here. I don't want to. She said she could talk to him for hours. Yeah, talk to him some more about them people that he murdered. Damn thug, sitting here walking around free. Anyway, let me continue. Okay, so they're back from break. Anyway, hold on, you guys. Okay, so they came back from the break about 15 minutes, or they went on a break for 10 minutes. So about 15 minutes ago, they came back. Now, Mia, a Combs former assistant and friend, this is just now I don't need this. I don't need to read this. This is just them trying to update us on whatever we missed, but we didn't miss a thing. Okay, so 7 minutes ago, Mia says she hasn't been able to work because she has severe PTSD. She says, I would have to leave because I would be triggered by really normal situations with like an overwhelming sense of fear of being in trouble. Okay, and then as an example, Mia said when someone asked her, where are you? She was immediately triggered. The person just wanted to get coffee, but she was flooded with a fear of having to explain where she was because she could be in trouble. When asked who caused her to now have those feelings, she said, Puff. Mia's demeanor, this is from 5 minutes ago, Mia's demeanor on the stand is still guarded. During her testimony, her head is bowed down. That's exactly what her mom said about her yesterday. With the part in her hair, the most visible feature of her face. Long bangs hang past her eyes, shielding her from view. Sean Diddy Combs blew a kiss to his mother, who is seated in the second row behind him with his sons and sister. Let me see what they have from Inner City Press. Okay, so 3 minutes ago, Inner City Press says, hold on here. Okay, they're back from break. The judge says, Mr. Steele, you can put the binders on the jurors' chairs. Ms. Smizer, do you have any objections? AUSA Smizer says, there's an exhibit we're requesting hearsay redactions to. We can hash it out. The judge says, put the binders on the chairs. Wonder what that's all about, binders on chairs? Okay, well, that's all they have thus far. So let's keep listening. Are y'all being entertained? I mean, the nerve of him. Did y'all hear him sitting there and then trying to minimize his culpability when he done murdered 19 people, sitting here talking about, I didn't murder all of those people. I didn't murder all those people. No, I didn't. I just, sometimes I planned it. Sometimes sir, you literally did kill those people, okay? Whether you did it with your own hands, set it up or whatever, sir.
Ellen, I'd really love to hear your perspective as it continues. Sammy the Bull, thanks so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, and it's a pleasure to come on. And anytime you want me back, just let me know.
Yeah, I bet you will, because you're just a clout chaser.
We'll do that for sure. We'll call for sure. Sammy the Bull Gravano joining us live tonight on Banfield. Coming up next, major updates and 2 manhunts we've been following very closely. There is now big money being offered in the effort to capture 3 prison inmates in Louisiana and Arkansas, but for at least one of the fugitives. We think we know why he's been able to stay hidden for days and days. 3 words, 2,000 caves. We're going to take you there next. For nearly 2 weeks, we've been asking the same question. Where are the armed and dangerous escaped inmates, Derek Groves and Antoine Massey? Massey's the one with the face tattoos there. Tonight, that's officially a $100,000 question, because it was just announced that officials are upping the bounty on their heads to $50,000 each.
$50,000 each? They better hope I don't see their asses, because they're going to be good as caught. They better hope I don't see them. I could use $50K right about now. I hope I find them both.
Call in a tip that leads to both arrests and you'll pocket a cool $100,000. Groves and Massey were 2 of the 10 inmates who leapt to freedom from the loading dock of the New Orleans jail, completely unnoticed. Don't ask. This after crawling through a hole behind a toilet in a prison cell. Don't ask. 8 of those 10 escapees are now back in custody.
Now, I'm going to tell you why they haven't found them. That light-skinned guy with those tats on his face, very, very noticeable. Okay, very noticeable, those tats on his face. You know why they haven't found him? I guarantee he's probably shaved his head. He's probably shaved his head, and some woman that's helping him, because somebody's helping both of them. That's why they've been gone for 2 weeks. Okay? That's why they've been gone for 2 weeks. But I'm guaranteed that some woman that's been helping him has put makeup on his face, because you know you can cover up tattoos very good, you know, when you put certain makeup on it. So he's probably walking around with a bald head, honey, and no tats showing on his face. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? Let me see him anywhere, honey. It's a wrap.
3 of them, because the tips came in from Crime Stoppers. And one of those arrests happened within 30 minutes of a tip coming in. So yeah, call Crime Stoppers. All told, police say they've received 700 tips about these fugitives. And it's not just New Orleans offering rewards. There is now a $10,000 reward on Grant Hardin's head. He's the former police chief from Arkansas who turned into a rapist and murderer and prison escapee. You may know him by his other name, the Devil in the Ozarks, after a documentary featured his sordid life. He's now been on the run for more than 4 days after this jaw-dropping escape, simply, walking out of a Max dressed in a lawman's uniform, pushing a dolly. But the search for Grant Hardin has not been easy. The terrain is unforgiving, and more than 2,000 caves dot the landscape that they're searching in northern Arkansas, the entrances of which are not very obvious to passersby. So how in the world did it come to this? News Nation correspondent Xavier, well,
I'm going to pause that for a brief moment, you guys. Okay, Mia is back on the stand. This is from CNN. With Brian still starting to cross-exam. That's from 1 minute ago. Let me check with Inner City Press. Okay, so 27 seconds ago, Inner City Press says, all rise. Judge says cross-examination. Brian Steele, he says, because of Sean Combs, you suffer a great deal, right? Mia says, yes, right. Steele says, just seeing him call your number made you throw your phone. True? She says, true. Steele says, he made you do things that are unthinkable. She says, yes. All right, honey, where is this all going? Okay, that's it for now. I'm going to be keeping my eye on it to see what else comes up. But listen, this is what I want to talk to you all about. So while we're waiting for more updates, let's talk about this. Remember I told you all about Keith Rainier, the guy that was in charge of the cult Nexum. Remember I told you all about him and I said, I bet you they didn't charge him with no darn RICO. Now I want to read you all a list of his nefarious crimes. Okay? Hold on, let me pull up the receipts. I'm going to let y'all listen to this while I gather the receipts.
Walton is live with the very latest. Xavier, I can't believe that this out-of-shape old guy has been able to give the slip for this many days. What's the latest?
Well, on the ground here, Ashley, you can still see the checkpoint behind me, right? You see the blue lights there, obviously still checking people coming in and out of this area. About 3 miles down the road, we'll throw up the drone video. You'll actually see that prison that this convicted killer and rapist, escaped from. But you talk about the caves, and that has been extremely problematic. You say there's about 2,000 of them. Well, here's the thing. Authorities, for everyone they know about, there's another one that they don't know about. And then you talked about the terrain. You got to keep in mind, it either takes a horse, so you got to go by horseback, or an all-terrain vehicle, an ATV, just to get to some of these areas. And you may not even see them. They might be right in front of your face. And then you got to factor in the weather as well. Heavy rain recently here in this part of the country, not to mention it rained today too. That hampers investigators and search crews, and it has really for the last several days.
I said it last night. I'll say it again tonight. He's no Bear Grylls. I've seen that guy's shape, and he looks like he could barely walk a mile. However, food is the big issue, you know, to keep fed for those cold nights and the track that you got to make during the nighttime. And it turns out this guy had a job in the kitchen. What do you know about that?
Well, that was very interesting. And we talked to the Arkansas Department of Corrections public information officer about it. It was actually the last question we asked him in our one-on-one interview. It was actually Darius, the field producer, who asked the question. And yes, he worked in the kitchen. And just talking to some of my sources, the thing that was super interesting about it, if you look at that photo, the last one we saw of him when he was disguised as some sort of law enforcement, those boxes, we're starting to hear that inside of those boxes, there might have actually been potentially food. Where would he get that food? Considering he was working in the kitchen. He was working in the kitchen the night he escaped. Take a listen to some of that conversation.
He has been a member of the kitchen staff since he's been in. And so that includes preparing meals for close to 1,000 inmates 3 times a day. So that is what he has done inside the prison. And, we have confirmed, he was working that shift the day of his escape.
And that makes me think, okay, did he maybe with the escape prepare for that and say, okay, I need this amount of food. I'm going to take it with me when I leave.
One thing that we tell, a lot of people is, those of us, in our everyday lives, we have, so many things that we're worried about every single day, our jobs, our bills, our family, whatever. When you're inside of a prison, you really don't have a lot to think about other than ways to get out. And so, I'm sure there's, especially considering his background as law enforcement, that was probably one of his priorities was putting together a plan and trying to figure out a way that he could get out.
So clearly he was desperate and possibly preparing for Lord knows how long. And then you factor in that kitchen aspect, working in the kitchen. Maybe he had a food, some stash, and that's how he's able to survive this long. Ashley, we don't know, but that's why we're asking investigators.
I love that you put the 2 and 2 together with the box on the dolly, because I have been wondering what the heck is in that box that he's, casually rolling out. All right, well, if we have this conversation again tomorrow night, because he's still on the road, I am going to ask you another question about whoever it was that opened the door to let him out dressed in that law enforcement uniform, because I'm really curious about what's going to happen to that guy. Xavier, I'm sorry you got the short stick and you're out in the Ozarks where it's buggy and not very warm and nice, but I appreciate your reporting. Thank you. Poor Xavier, man, oh man, I hope he gets a good hotel tonight. Coming up next, a face only a mother could love? I would say hardly. Wade Wilson, a.k.a. the Deadpool killer, actually has a lot of groupies who like this face. Girls who've been showering him with love letters while he sits on death row. And it is a good thing he's got those ladies, because it appears they are coming to his rescue for some big bad inmates who want Wade Wilson dead. I'll explain next. If I can state the obvious, prison sucks. You're told when to wake up, when to go to bed. You got bars on your windows and crappy food on your plate. Everybody around you is either a convicted criminal or a prison guard. And while it's no picnic, you can bet your bottom dollar that death row is a hell of a lot worse. And Wade Wilson is learning all of this in real time. You remember Wade with all that fancy artwork on his face during his trial? He earned the name the Deadpool Killer because he shares the same name with the comic book character. But 8 months ago, Wade Wilson landed on death row after 2 savage murders of women he had just met. Women who no doubt died in agony, terrified beyond belief as their life was being snuffed out. But it seems that Wade is now getting a little taste of his own medicine. A group of women online who for some reason have fallen in love with Wade say that he now fears. He fears for his life. He fears that he's constantly going to be killed by 2 violent murderers on his cell block. The women say that these fellow death row inmates pose such a threat that Wade has been, quote, driven to the brink, end quote, their words. The inmates in question, Daniel Craven and Peter Avzanu. The records say that Daniel drowned a man in a dog bowl and then murdered his cellmate with a shank. So, yeah, he's dangerous. And Peter Avzanu, he's the guy on the left there, Peter beat 2 men beyond recognition and then shot them both to death. Howdy, neighbor. Wade Wilson's online girlfriends have even made a formal complaint to the Florida Department of Corrections, pleading for them to keep Deadpool safe from these killers. Curious how long these women, however, are going to hold a candle for Wade, given he has definitely hit the skids since being locked up. That is what Wade looks like now. He's packed on the pounds, lost a couple teeth, and certainly the Don Juan twinkle has twinkled off. Death row tends to do that to you. And during his 8 months there, he's also racked up more than 150 pages of disciplinary reports and lost his visitor's privileges. One of those infractions, apparently trying to smuggle out a hand-drawn piece of art, quote unquote, to a woman known as Sweet Cheeks, quote unquote. He told her to auction off the drawing and, quote, rake in the money because he's so famous. It did not work. So good luck with your neighbors, Wade, and good riddance. Still to come on this show, I have seen my fair share of masked bandits, but they are not usually as cute as this guy. Hello.
Okay. I absolutely cannot. Did y'all hear that? All right, so we're still waiting for more updates. Nothing yet so far. Uh-oh, here we go. Okay, this is from Inner City Press. Steele says, I moved for admission of 1702 to 1710. These are clearly some exhibits. AUSA Smizer says, these are under seal. Steele says, whatever the court says, we have redacted versions. Mia, this is a social media post by you in 2013. Mia says yes, or he asked her rather. She says yes. Steele says, it's your personal account. This is what you're doing. She says, yes, my personal account. Steele then says, you wrote this. This is what we do when you are not around. I am Diddy, Ciroc, right? She says, yes. Steele says, you tagged him years after you say he raped you? She says, yes. Steele says, this is July the 4th of 2013. Whose hands are those? She says, Cass and me. Child, he's about to tear into her story real quick, honey. I want y'all to pay attention to. You knew it was going to be some BS. When Brian Steele is doing the cross exam, I just want y'all to pay attention. This is when you know some ish is about to go down. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Whenever they have Brian Steele doing the cross exam, honey, it's about to be a hot mess. Okay, now he's about to poke holes in this lady's story. I already see it coming. Now, next, Steele says, you wrote Richest Uck with an F and CC. Who is CC? Mia says Cass. Steele says, what does CC stand for? Mia says, it's just a nickname. Steele said, you have heard Cassie Combs. Y'all remember that? In the emails and text messages from Cassie, when Diddy was referring to her as CC, and then she said that stands for Cassie Combs. Y'all remember? So that's what she was putting on there. Richest Uck. and CC. Mm-hmm. So then she said it was just a nickname. So Steele says, have you heard Cassie Combs? Mia says, oh, that makes sense. Trying to play dumb like she didn't know. Girl, you know you knew. Steele says, hear you say he got coffee for you, though he got coffee for you, though in the Forbes list. She says, yes. Where is this all leading to? I'm gonna tell you one thing about Diddy's team, honey. They can find any inkling of a way to poke holes in your story, they're gonna do it. Okay, they're going to do it. Nicole said he can poke holes, but I can feel Mia won the jury. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I would say Deontay Nash won the jury, but about Mia, just from what I've heard about her from my friend who was in the courtroom and from Armand, I can't say that. I can't say that so quick. I definitely think that Deontay did, though. The way they said Mia was holding her head down and up there shaking and trembling and just like she was more scared. And then Armand said it looked like she was reading something. I don't know if she was or not, but I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out. Either way, doesn't really matter because Diddy's going down, honey. Okay? Diddy is going down for the counts. Okay, so still nothing back as far as the updates are concerned. So now let's talk about Keith Raniere, the guy from the SEX cult. Now I want y'all to listen to his charges. Keith Raniere, the founder and leader of NXIVM, was sentenced today to 120 years in prison by United States District Judge Nicholas G. Garufas in federal court in Brooklyn. Raniere was convicted by a federal jury in June of 2019 of racketeering conspiracy, trafficking, attempted trafficking, conspiracy, forced labor conspiracy, and wire fraud conspiracy. The court also imposed a fine of $1,750,000 at the sentencing hearing. Okay, the court heard victim impact statements from 15 individuals, including Camellia, the woman who was sexually exploited by Raniere when she was 15 years old. A hearing on victim restitution will be held at a later date. This man was also nefarious. Now hold on. And just to let you all know, he was beating these women. He had one woman chained up in a damn warehouse for 2 years. Do y'all hear me? I did a thorough investigation onto this. Okay. Had this woman tied up for 2 years in a warehouse. And then he had the woman, Allison Mack from Smallville, from that show, the actress, her and this other woman recruiting women. Okay, like Ghislaine Maxwell. They were recruiting these women and basically lying, telling them that it was some mentorship group for women. He was actually branding these women with a cattle iron. Okay. Yeah, he was branding these women. Oh, so crazy. But anyway, let's continue. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. And so anyway, goes on to say that the 120-year sentence imposed on Keith Raniere today is a measure of his appalling crimes committed over a decade. Now, Raniere's reign of control over the women that he scarred, both physically and emotionally, is the making of a horror story. Now, is anyone wondering why they've not made any documentaries about him? Sheila said that you saw the documentary. I didn't know there was one. I would love to see it. Now, goes on to say that he had control over these women. Okay, it's a horror story, and it's inconceivable to think of the sexual exploitation, abuse, seclusion, and mind control that his victims suffered at his direction. Today, the judge has given him 120 years to think about whether or not the torture he inflicted on others for more than a decade and the distress that he brought to their families was worth it in the end. This is what the FBI said. Ooh, honey, this man did a whole lot. I'm not even going to get into all of it. Now, each of his co-defendants previously pleaded guilty, and on September the 20th, or September of 2020, Claire Brofman was sentenced to 81 months imprisonment after having been convicted of conspiracy to conceal the harbor aliens for financial gain and fraudulent use of personal identification. See, this is what I want you all to pay attention to. This is what I want y'all to pay attention to. Now, he was hit with RICO charges. He was convicted under the RICO statute, okay, as he should have been. But here's the thing. I want you all to think about something. This man did all of this stuff. Okay, now he was torturing these women. He was also making them film themselves, and he was recording them to blackmail them later. He also had them film their family members doing things, and he would have them to bring information such as social security numbers or personal information about family members so that he could use that to blackmail them later as well, either the family members or them. This man was so nefarious. Now, I'm telling you that he did some of the same things that both Diddy and R. Kelly have been accused of. So what does that all say? And this is why I'm saying Diddy seemed like a cult leader, because that's what this man was. He was a whole cult leader. And then Diddy having people trapped in the house, they can't leave unless he says so, then sending people to go get him and all that crazy stuff. The reason I'm bringing all this up is because of this. Do you all think these are the only people in Hollywood or the music industry doing this stuff? I'm trying to tell you all that what people need to realize is this is the culture. This is the culture of Hollywood and the music industry. There are thousands of Diddys out there. Do y'all think it's just Diddy and R. Kelly and this man right here? No, this is commonplace. This is why everybody is silent. This is why you can't hear any of the Hollywood people saying anything. This is why the music company or the music industry is on mute, because they know that there's plenty of them doing the same damn thing. Okay? You think they aren't? This is the culture of the industry. This has been going on for years. And for those of you, just to prove my point, for those of you who missed it, I showed you all, I did a video about the first freak off. A freak off that happened back in, I believe, the 1930s with a Caucasian actor and comedian by the name of Fatty Arbuckle. Do you all remember that? Once in the chat if you all remember that. Fatty Arbuckle had a freak off that turned into murder, and he had to go on trial. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. This stuff has been going on. This stuff has been going on at the end of the day. Okay, now you think, even if we put Diddy behind bars for the rest of his life, you got Keith Rainier in prison for the rest of his life, 121 years, he's never getting out. R. Kelly got 30 years. This stuff is not going to stop. There's still people out here doing it. And now with these people that have gotten caught, all they're going to do is try to be more sneaky as to how they do it. And I want you all to pay attention because so many people are actually in on it. Now, I want y'all to think about the testimony from yesterday or the day before when they alluded to the fact, the feds that is, that quite possibly Diddy had something done or got somebody within the LAPD to get rid of those fingerprint cards. You see how that works? Now, you think Diddy's the only big time celebrity that has ties to the police or even the feds? Money talks. Some of these people don't just have ties to the police and the feds, they have ties to big time politicians. They have ties to big time politicians. And do you all think that slavery is over? You know, because Diddy was treating these people like slaves. Where do you think Diddy learned it from? Slavery is not over. Now we just call it human trafficking, but it's still the same. It's still the same. And you have the police, law enforcement, and politicians involved, judges, you name it, at the end of the day. So how do you stop it? Ask yourselves that. Honey, it's a whole lot of these people doing the various things, as far as I'm concerned. This is all a travesty. And then we be sitting up here wondering why all these people go missing every year. Okay? Just think, marinate on that. And this is just in the United States. Now, for those of you who remember that used to follow my true crime channel, y'all remember the guy that I talked about, Jimmy Savile from the UK? Out there doing all these nefarious things to young people, little people, shall I say? And he was knighted by the Queen. I mean, he was known and he was considered royalty and all of that. But that's what he was doing. I'm telling you, people in high places. Let's not forget about Nicole Kidman's father, Dr. Anthony David Kidman. The stories I've told you all about him. I'm just saying, y'all think this is just, honey, it is so many people doing this stuff, okay? It is so many people doing these things. It is just ridiculous and sad. Every last one of them needs to be in somebody's prison. But unfortunately, the only time they really get to prison is if they tick off the wrong person. Okay, they tick off the wrong person, then that's when they end up getting called out. But other than that, they just do it for decades. Pay attention. So anyway, this is an update from CNN. The jury is seeing photos of Sean Diddy Combs that Mia posted on social media. Now, the first image was posted on her personal social media account in January of 2013. The photo showed her holding several bottles of Ciroc vodka. The caption said, "What we do when you're not around." And then she tagged Diddy. Mia confirmed to defense attorney Brian Steele that Combs had sexually assaulted her and abused her by that point. The jury saw two more pictures from October of 2013. One of the photos showed Combs at a coffee shop. It says, "Just the #1 guy on the Forbes list getting me a vanilla latte. No big deal, regular people-ish." So I want you all to pay attention to the clout chase of it all. The other photo showed Mia, Combs, Cassie Ventura, and Carrie Morgan, a former friend of Ventura's, at Burning Man Festival with the caption, "Take me back." Steele pointed out that Mia was standing beside Combs and leaning into him in the photo. "And he terrorized you, right?" Huh! Brian Steele put that picture up with her standing all up close up on Diddy. Okay. And then he said, "And he terrorized you, right?" She said, "Yes." Girl, your story's giving lackluster all of a sudden. All of a sudden, your story sounded a little bit lackluster. Now, what do you all have to say about this? See, my thing is, I have never been in such a predicament to be traumatized by any such thing as the stuff that Diddy has been accused of doing. So I can't speak as a victim. But what I can do is speak logically. And I'm going to tell you this. If somebody raped me, if somebody threw a bowl of spaghetti at my face, threw a computer at my head and it almost hit me, wouldn't let me get any sleep, wouldn't let me lock my door, wouldn't let me leave the house without their permission, wants to embarrass me and my friend at a party because we weren't supposed to go. We were told to stay at home like kids. I'm sorry, but once I get away from you, the last thing I'm going to do is reach out. I don't want anything to do with you ever. Now, this all sounds real crazy because why do these people continuously go back to Diddy? Does Diddy have some sort of spell over them? Or is it because they want to be in close proximity to fame and power? Okay? Because it's clout chasing more important than living your life ethically or staying away from people who you claim traumatize you. I have several questions. Okay? Now Brian Steele got her sitting up here on the stand looking crazy, talking about, and so he terrorized you, right? But after you're gone, this is what you do? Tagging him on social media? Like for what? I don't get these people because every last one of these people that was talking ish has admitted to reaching out to Diddy. I want you all to pay attention to that. The guy that was the assistant, George Kaplan, said he invited Diddy to his wedding. It was him or David James, but one of them said they invited Diddy to his wedding. This is after they were no longer working for him. Why would you want that man at your wedding? Clout chase. Imagine being able to tell your friends and family, "Oh, Diddy's coming to my wedding." After all the dirt that you claim Diddy did, that you saw and that you even participated in, this is all crazy. Now I'm starting to wonder, did somebody get paid off for certain things? Okay, like testimonies. I have questions. Anyway, with that all being said, let's get back to the updates. 4 minutes ago from Inner City Press, Steele says, "What did you write?" Mia says, "Thank you for giving me an extended family for life. You're effing funny. I love you." Steele says, "You're in a tutu next to Mr. Combs, right?" She says, "Yes." Steele says, "He's holding his private part in his hand." She says, "I guess so." Not holding his private part in his hand. Who does that? Diddy is a freak. Then Steele says, you are proud of Mr. Sean Combs. She says, of course, you'd post the great times. This is what she says. Of course, you post the great times. Still said, you wrote Extended Family for Life. You are forever one of my great fans. This about the man who traumatized you? She says, I wrote that. Now it's not adding up. Now the math ain't math, and Brian Steele's about to prove it. Now he's about to prove it. See, here's the thing. It doesn't matter what we think about any of this. What matters is what the jury thinks. Okay? This is what the jury thinks. Talk to me, I talk back. Said Queen, just said it, payoff. Okay? Exactly, beloved. It's giving something shady is going on. All right? Something real sketchy seems to be going on here. Now, Steele says, who was your mentor and brother you're writing about? She says, Puff. Steele says, you did a collage of a lot of them. Are you and Mr. Combs? You did a collage. A lot of them are you and Mr. Combs. You picked out the thumbnails, right? She says, right. He says, what did you write? She says, who let me have my hair like that? Who let me have my hair like that is what she wrote. Now, I'm waiting for the next one, honey, because now this is getting juicy. This is getting juicy, honey. I wish I was sitting right there in the courtroom so I could see the looks on the jurors' faces. Okay? I wish I could be sitting right there. Nicole said, Queen always catching stuff. Thank you, beloved. You know I'll be paying attention. I mean, it's real interesting. Let me see what we have at CNN. Okay, still waiting on them. They haven't posted since 5 minutes ago. Anyway, let's go to some of these videos I have for you guys. Okay, so I'm going to pull up. Oh, by the way, they have Suge Knight on Piers Morgan. And let me tell you all something. Last night, it's real funny because I got up and saw that Suge Knight is on Piers Morgan. But I was thinking about Suge Knight last night. I don't know why Suge Knight was on my mind because I think I know why. I was, first of all, thinking about Dwayne Keefe D. Davis and the trial for him being involved in the murder of Tupac. And I said, now, when is his darn trial? Because I have been waiting. First, they said November, and then they postponed it to March. Now, when is it? So I looked up the date. And so that got me to thinking about Tupac and his death and all of that, you know, and just reminiscing. And then I thought about this interview that Suge Knight did days after Tupac's murder. And when Suge Knight was telling the story, it pissed me the hell off because at that moment I knew that Suge Knight used Tupac as a human shield. Suge Knight, do you all remember when Suge Knight said that Tupac was trying to climb in the back seat? Do you all remember he said Tupac was trying to climb in the back seat, and that's when he got grazed by the bullet, and he grabbed Tupac. And he said, I grabbed him and held him down. Now, he was acting as though he tried to hold him down to protect him. But you weren't holding him down to protect him because Tupac knew, or at least felt, that it was safer for him in the damn back seat. Okay? And specifically, this is why I believe Suge snatched him, because he said, I grabbed him. I was like, what you doing? And I grabbed him, and I held him down. Yeah, you held him in front of your big ass, Suge. That's exactly why I don't like Suge Knight to this day. That's exactly why I don't like him till this day. Okay? Because at that point, first of all, he's way bigger. He's like 3 times the size Tupac was. Okay? Why would you grab him when he's trying to get in the back seat? Now, quite frankly, if I was Suge, I probably would have tried to just get out the car on the driver's side. But yeah, that's what he did. Okay, that's what he did. Y'all could say if y'all can disagree or whatever, but I think that's what he did. My spirit told me that when I first heard him tell that story during the interview days after. And I said he used him for a human shield. Okay? That's what he did. Sitting there trying to act like he was trying to save his life. You weren't trying to save his life. Okay? At the end of the day, anybody in that situation is going to be thinking about self-preservation. That's all I'm saying. So, but anyway, I guess I really can't be too mad at him because I guess that might be just what most people will probably do. I don't know. But it just ticks me off just for him to even say that and act like he was trying to do Tupac a favor. Talking about I grabbed him and held him down. It's like, what you doing? Oh, trying to get in the back seat. That's what he's doing. Okay. Anyway, let me continue. But so anyway, what I was going to say was when I woke up this morning after thinking about that late last night, it was synchronicity in my opinion, because when I woke up, the first thing I saw when I clicked on YouTube was Piers Morgan had an interview with Suge Knight. So I thought that was interesting. Y'all know I always pay attention. It's just like yesterday, I had to catch a lift because I was dropping my car off to be detailed. And so I was catching a lift. And the Lyft driver, she was asking me about the Diddy trial. And so we were talking about it and everything. And then she was like, I don't like Diddy because I think he had something to do with Tupac and Biggie getting killed. And I was like, oh, yes, absolutely. I agree. And then as soon as we stopped talking about it, and she was mostly talking about Biggie. And then as soon as she stopped talking about Biggie, guess what song comes on the radio? Biggie's song. Okay, one of Biggie's songs. And I was like, girl, she was like, oh my God, you see that? I was like, girl, that's synchronicity. Please pay attention. Okay, so anyway, here we go with the next update from CNN 1 minute ago. When asked, Mia testified that she made positive posts about Combs because social media was about showing how great your life was, even if it wasn't true. Girl. She also said, it's about clout chasing. Social media, for those of you, y'all know, social media is all about clout chasing for most people. That's just the facts. Now, she also said Combs' fans followed her and she didn't want her family to know what she was going through, referring to the various forms of abuse she had said she had experienced. Well, ma'am, if you didn't want your family to know about the abuse, you could have just kept it to yourself, but you didn't have to be shouting Diddy out. Okay, and talking about I love you and you gave me my extended family and all this. You didn't have to be doing all that. So that's no excuse. That is no excuse as far as I'm concerned. A young lady, I'm going to need some answers that make sense because that doesn't. Okay, now Inner City Press back from 2 minutes ago. They say, Steele says, you are with Mr. Combs, right? She says, yes. Steele says, here you say, look, Ma, I'm on a billboard in Times Square, right? She says, it's a play on my name is in the lights. Is in lights. Steele says, and this photo? She says, me and Cass going to Istanbul. Please don't tell me Diddy paid for the tickets. Hold on, let me see. Steele then says, did Mr. Combs have to approve both of you going on that trip? Damn, just like I suspected, Diddy paid for it. She says, absolutely. Steele says, this photo? Now, this is the thing about the defense team. I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention. If I ever get in trouble, honey, let me tell y'all something. I never ask you all for donations, but if I ever get in trouble, I'm coming on here and asking y'all to fundraise for me so I can hire Brian Steele, okay? Because I can't afford it. I know he charges a pretty penny, honey. This man is no joke. Anybody that's willing to go to jail for their clients, honey, I'm all for it. Okay, so anyway, he goes on to say, now think about this. This is another thing I noticed about Diddy's team, right? So they do little slick stuff to really drive home their point and to embarrass you. Mr. Elevation said, I got you, Queen. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. They do this little slick stuff, right? Remember how they had Cassie reading those nefarious text messages and emails? And Nicole Westmoreland told us, you go ahead. I know, not Nicole Westmoreland. It was Estavia. Okay, and that was real slick. If you all remember, I pointed out to you all, first of all, I was the first one told you all, they're going to have to get a lady to cross-examine Cassie. Otherwise, it's going to look like bullying, and they're going to have to approach her with kid gloves, but still be able to get their point across. But also, I told you all, did you notice that Estavio is of Cassie's ethnicity? And so they got her to do the question, and then she's flattering Cassie. Oh, you're so beautiful. All that kind of stuff, trying to make it all easy. But remember how she gave Cassie her own text messages and emails between her and Diddy. And she said, oh, you read your parts and I'll read Diddy's. Imagine having to sit there in front of all of these people in court, including your husband, and read those vile messages from so long ago. Honey, I probably would have passed out. Cassie's a good one because I don't know if I could have done that. I would have been so embarrassed. And this is what Brian Steele is doing now. He's showing her photos and text and asking her, didn't you write this? And isn't this you? Y'all talked about me pulling a Perry Mason the other day, honey. This is what Brian Steele is pulling right now, a whole damn Perry Mason. But let me continue. And so anyway, goes on to say, she said her and Cassie went to Istanbul. Steele says, did Mr. Combs have to approve the both of you going on that trip? She says, absolutely. He says, this photo, and then shows her another one. She says, we were in the Sprinter van on the way to Cassie's club appearance. Steele says, where are you in this one? She says, the W Hotel in Istanbul. Anybody ever been to Istanbul? I'm going to have to go. I like the way it sounds. How crazy is that? I want to go just because I like the way it sounds. Anyway. Oh my God, Nicole is so crazy. Nicole said, Brian probably heard your broadcast, Queen Girl. Okay, no, that man already was doing that, honey. That's why I like him. But thank you, beloved. I appreciate your confidence in the Queen. But that man was already no joke. I'm telling you, I would love to work with them. Him and Nicole Westmoreland and that other lawyer who works with them that's older than Brian Steele. I can't remember his name. I'll have to look it up. But honey, he's no joke either. Because he was ready to throw down and throw the fist in the courtroom, honey. He sure was. Okay, I'm telling you, these people do not play. And they're from Atlanta, okay? They're from Atlanta, just so y'all know. Don't play with these Atlanta lawyers, honey, because they're going to give you all the smoke. Pay attention. Now, with that all being said, here's the latest from CNN. Mia, one of Sean Diddy Combs' former assistants, testified that at one point, Combs changed his birthday. Do y'all hear this? This is how you know Diddy is a damn fool. Now, I heard we know he has changed his name a myriad of times. I mean, he went from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy to Diddy to Brother Love. But now she said he changed his birthday. This man is crazy. Anyway, she says he changed his birthday. Defense attorney Brian Steele showed another photo Mia posted to celebrate Combs' birthday, where the caption said, in part, "Happy New Birthday." Steele asked Mia what that referred to. She said Puff decided to change his birthday that year, so we all promoted it. What kind of ish is this? What kind of ish is this? He's going to change his birthday? So that's what we're doing, Diddy? I mean, this is all ridiculous, okay? So, well, first of all, why would you change your birthday? And she said they all promoted it. See, that's what I'm saying. They all let him act crazy and went along with his crazy. Because if he'd have told me he's about to change his birthday, I'd say, you know, you sound like a damn fool, right? How are you going to change your birthday and why do you want to? This is all crazy. Let me read a couple of the comments because y'all might be talking smack. Think Differently Bible Study said, we will never understand the world these people live in. I don't care what Diddy team is about. The bottom line is this man is evil and hate any type of woman. He sacrificed women. Their world is dark. I have to absolutely agree. Their world is dark, honey. It absolutely is dark, full of demons and despair. Okay? I absolutely. And I do agree that he hates women deep down inside. I think he resents women. Absolutely. I think he cared for Kim Porter to a degree, but at the end of the day, not more than he cared for himself. And I think Diddy absolutely resents women because deep down inside, Diddy wants a man. Okay? That's just what I think. Ooh. Latasha said, we under a dome, Queen. Why not? Okay? Look at Nene laughing, talking about y'all might be talking smack. You know how they be doing, honey. You know how they be trying to go in on me when I ain't looking. Coco said, I just have to laugh at this time. I am, as the old people say, just tickled pink. Not tickled pink. That's what I said about myself one day, and everybody was crying. Okay, so, yeah, I find it all interesting. Okay, so we're still waiting for updates. Listen, let me stop running my mouth and get to the information. I have this video. First of all, hold on. We might have to hold off, you guys, because it's about to be lunchtime. Don't they usually go to lunch at 12 or is it 12:30? Because it's 12 o'clock. I think they may be going to lunch in a minute. Hold on. We'll get started with a video just to see. Maybe, no, they usually go at 12:30. That's right. 12:30 to like 1:15. Okay, so we have like 30 minutes. So let's go to the Piers Morgan interview with Suge Knight. I want to hear this. Y'all know I can't be using this man's video without his consent, so I'm going to put up an overlay and add some music to it just to avoid any copyright issues, honey, because YouTube already didn't pay me for one of my little old videos, honey, with their little hating selves. I had to dispute it. Okay, here we go. All right. Now let me put some music on, and then we're going to get into this because I want to hear what Suge. Now, you know Suge's not actually on here because Suge is in prison, okay? Serving about 28 years for killing that man at the Straight Outta Compton video shoot or movie premiere or whatever shoot. Okay, see this up here? That little window right there, that's the audio from where he's talking, okay? So just for anybody that didn't know. All right. There we go.
People in the music business. And a while back, I had got into it with two rappers in 91. In 95, I took a plea deal. But along that journey, David Kenner introduced me to the DA called Larry Longo. Larry Longo and David Kenner, I paid Johnny Cochran close to $1 million. I think it was. David Kenner, $1 million. And they say, take the deal. It won't be no strikes, and there won't be no felonies. So Johnny Cochran wrote in and told them, this illegal sentence, make sure they go in and fix it and don't give me a strike. All that's on paperwork, and all that I filed as a habeas. But the DA got fired. David Kenner got blessed. The DE got blessed. And I ended up with extra time on this sentence because my sentence carried 2, 6, and 11. They double me up for a strike I didn't have. So that goes to show you they can use things against you to cost you more time. They let Bill Cosby go because of the fact that he's had an agreement verbally. Mine is in writing by my attorney, Howard Price. It says that I don't supposed to have no strikes. And they still haven't granted that to me. But the sad thing about all this, regardless it's Puffy, regardless it's Easy, regardless it's me, and it was just a situation where when you create something so big and bigger than life, people want to take it from you. And if they can't take it from you...
So Suge, just to jump in, what you're saying, because for viewers who are not familiar with the intricacies of your situation, in September 2018, you pled no contest to a voluntary manslaughter in a fatal hit and run 3 years earlier. Your conviction, along with the previous felonies, triggered California's 3 strikes law. You got a sentence of 28 years in prison. You'll be up for parole in October 2034 when you'll be 69. And what you're intimating there is that one of those strikes shouldn't have been on your record. Is that have I read that correctly?
Neither one. Neither one of those strikes should be on my record because I don't supposed to have any strikes. Also, they had proof of the guys with guns. They got proof of tapes where Andre Young paid these guys to kill me with a personal check. $20,000 here, money there, and they all agreed they was paid to kill me. And in fact...
Now, I'm sorry, but wait a minute now. They were paid to murk him. They were paid to murk this man with a personal check. Y'all hear this? Now, you have to be a whole fool to do something like that. Of course, it can be traced back to you. Who hires somebody to take somebody out and gives them a check? Aren't those transactions usually made in cash? Anyway, honey, let me get to these 2 updates. This is from Inner City Press. Steele says, do you remember telling, you don't remember how many times you or Essie actually assaulted? She says, I don't know if I phrased it that way. Still says, this has ruined you, right? You are broken. Yes. The sexual abuse was part of the way he ruined me. Yes. First of all, I have an objection, Mr. Steele. The way he's asking her these questions, it's almost like he's leading the witness. When you start leading them towards the answer that you want them to say, that's actually leading the witness. Now I'm wondering why the feds haven't objected. I mean, but hey, let him cook, because I'm all for it, Mr. Steele. Continue. So then he says, this ruined you. This ruined you, right? You were broken, yes. The sexual abuse was part of the way he ruined me. Yes. Okay. Still says, you wrote, thank you for being the good kind of crazy, inspiring me every day. Maya says, I don't think people wrote bad stuff about their life on Instagram back then. Yeah, but you certainly don't write good stuff about bad people on Instagram, do you? How about let's not mention them at all? Still said, why did you promote it? She said, it was my job to promote. It was a cycle of ups and downs. Promoting is one thing, but praising is a whole nother. Okay, let me just hush because I don't know what these people had to go through. Okay, so then Mia says, when he was calling me his friend, I wasn't afraid of him. Still says, you weren't afraid of the man who stole your innocence. AUSA says, objection. Judge says, overruled. Still says, you have family. She says, parents, a sister. Still said, and friends. AUSA says, time frame. AUSA, sit down and let this man cook. Why is she asking for the time frame? Okay, this is all getting good. See, Brian Steele, I see where he's going with all of this. By the time he is done with her, let me just tell you all something. By the time he is done with her, I guarantee you half the people on that jury is going to be looking at her with a whole side eye. Okay, half of them is going to be wondering, did it really grape you, lady? Because why would you be saying all these nice things about him? This, that, and the third. Why would you be tagging him? Why would you, text him when Kim Porter died? Listen, my thing is I can give condolences when somebody loses a loved one, but if you're somebody who was so nefarious, beating me, graping me, and all that kind of stuff, I don't give a damn what you lose or who you lose. It could be your mother, one of your kids. I don't care. I'm not reaching out to you for nothing. F you. That's how I feel about it. Though I may be sorry for the loss of that person lost their life, but I'm certainly not going to call you the nefarious one and tell you anything sympathetic. I'm just not going to do it. And he already threatened to kill her too, according to her own words. So I don't know. Black Ace said, people taking everybody's testimony, if it's just the truth, they could be straight up lying. So far, he has domestic violence to the highest power. It takes more than one person for RICO case. Well, here's the thing. Everybody's not taking their testimony as it's true. I'm just stating what she has said. I don't know if it's true or not. But what I am saying, whether it is true or not, by the time Mr. Steele is done with her on that stand, half of the jury is going to be looking at her with a side eye. Even if she is telling the truth, half of them not going to think she is. That's my point. That's all I'm saying, because Diddy has some good lawyers on his team. You know who is the lawyer that I don't like on Diddy's team? Is Donaldson. Donaldson is just, he sucks. Where'd they dig him up from? Xavier Donaldson? Yeah. Remember I kept telling you guys, I said, where is he going with this line of questioning? Is he working for the feds or the defense? Y'all remember I said that? Not that I want Diddy to win, mind you, but I just had questions as to, if you're supposed to be working with the defense, sir, you're not doing a good job. In fact, you're asking questions that benefit the feds case. So how is this, even plausible? So anyway, honey, he's just not that good as far as I'm concerned, but all the rest of them are on point. Okay, so then Steele says, when you posted this, you still had friends. Mia said, I had no sounding board. I had to get permission to go to my grandfather's funeral. Still said the jury was an email. Hold on, this has to be a typo. I want to say that he meant to put the jury saw an email. He put was. Okay, the jury saw an email with D-Rock. You could express yourself, right? She says, I reached out to him. So she reached out to D-Rock, but I thought D-Rock reached out to her and she was suspicious and didn't really want to talk to him. Do y'all remember that? Okay, this is getting juicy, honey. I can't wait to see what's coming up next. Hold on. I'm locked in right now. Hold on, you guys. Let me see what they got on CNN. Okay, CNN. Now, that was Inner City Press. CNN, less than a minute ago, says, on June the 22nd of 2014, Mia posted or reposted an Instagram post of Sean Diddy Combs that he had published about her for her birthday. Combs posted a photo of them together and wrote, beside every great man is a great woman. P.S. Sorry, I was acting crazy last night. Let me tell y'all something about that Diddy. Diddy is nothing but a little charmer. Okay, I want y'all to think about it. Diddy is a charmer when he wants to be. Now, in fact, if he didn't have all these demons for doing nefarious things, maybe he could be that way all the time. But unfortunately, no. But see, Diddy knows how to woo people. He can sit there and beat the crap out of these women, talk trash, berate them in front of people, throw things at them, but then send them flowers or little notes. And then, oh, P.S., I'm sorry, I was acting crazy last night. Like, that's supposed to just make it all go away. Okay? And they would fall for it, apparently. Now, she says he had threatened my life on the phone that night before, and I guess this was his apology. In her repost, she said, nicest caption ever. Thanks, Puff. Love you. You've shown me the world. This is what you tell somebody who just threatened your life the night before? Adam said, look at him. Jekyll. Exactly. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But Diddy's a sociopath, not a psychopath, beloved. This is all so nefarious. Do y'all hear this? Flower Lotus put a money bag in the chat. Okay. That's what I'm starting to wonder, beloved. Somebody getting some cash around here. Okay, so anyway, in her repost, she said, let me read that again. Nicest caption ever, Puff. Love you. You've shown me the world. Now, defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia if she reposted this, even though she said Mr. Combs had just threatened her life and traumatized her for years. She said, yes, of course I did. Oh, yes, of course. What do you mean? Yes, of course. Like, that's just something that you're supposed to do. This is all crazy, honey. Black A said everything is focused on Diddy and not the wickedness of all the people that's on those S-party tapes with kids and doing all types of stuff, other debauchery. Beloved, I believe you're new to this channel. I've never seen you in the chat, but let me just make it clear that we're not distracted by anything. You see over here, we don't get distracted because I talk about a myriad of things. And we're focused on Diddy's trial right now because that's what's trending, of course, and what we all want to know about. But we have spoken about all that stuff that you just listed. We've all spoken about that. And in fact, if you just got here earlier, even on this very broadcast, I was talking about other people who have done or been accused and convicted of the same exact things as Diddy. Okay? And I've specifically talked about those party tapes that I think Diddy absolutely has with certain high-profile, wealthy people on there that he has stashed somewhere. Okay? And I absolutely talked about that a myriad of times, beloved. Now, so anyway, with that all being said, honey, this is all getting juicy. Don't y'all think? Anyway, while we wait for more updates, let's listen to this interview with Suge Knight's lying self.
That if you really look at the whole situation, it started with One Oak. Same people at One Oak got shot 7 times. Same people at Tams tried to kill me. Same thing if the FBI says it's a price on your head, they want to kill you. So when somebody tried to kill you and you get away, how did I end up in prison? But the most important thing about this, they denied me to go. They wouldn't let me go per, but David Kenner, my attorney, did the most crookedest thing on record that you can possibly do. And this is a guy who's getting this, they're trying to disbar him in 24, 25, 21, and they never reported that to the courts or to me. But past that, the situation is this. A lot of crooked cops got involved in hip hop. Those same crooked cops, I felt that cost me my freedom, cost Puffy his freedom for now, cost a lot of people bad situations. And I think that they cost the most biggest 2 rappers in hip hop history, Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls, their life. Everybody points the finger at everyone, but it all comes back to the same authorities.
I mean, as you know, Suge, look, you mentioned Tupac there. Obviously, it was 1996. I mean, incredible to think it's nearly 30 years ago when he was shot and killed. You were alongside him in the car. Many people have speculated since that Diddy ordered that death of Tupac. Is that your belief?
Well, first of all, I got a bullet still today, a 45 bullet, an inch to my skull. You can look at my medical records and see the x-rays and see it's in my skull. They didn't remove it because they said if it would have went another inch, either I'd have been a vegetable or dead. Now, far as what they say Puffy did and didn't do, just the facts. The facts of the matter is this. It's a guy named Reggie Wright Jr., who was over security. He didn't work directly for Death Row, but he had a security company called Right Way Security.
Let me just say something. Suge is sitting up here lying. Y'all do know, how many of you know that Suge is sitting up here lying? One's in the chat. How many of you know that Suge is sitting up here lying? Talk about he got shot in the head, the bullet's still there. And if it had gone one way, he would have paralyzed or a vegetable. Y'all know that Suge is lying, right? Please tell me you know. Please tell me you know his ass is lying. Suge didn't get shot in his head like that. A bullet grazed him. He was grazed by a bullet or shrapnel. Let me pull up the receipts because I know he's telling a goddamn lie. Because I remember when it all happened was the day that it went down. Okay? This man sitting up here lying. Suge Knight. Let me just Google it real quick, okay? Because I know damn well that he was not shot in his damn head. Y'all hear me? Hold on. Okay, here it is right here. I typed in was Suge Knight shot in the head. Let's get it. No. While Suge Knight was in the car with Tupac Shakur during the fatal drive-by shooting in Las Vegas in 1996, he was grazed by a bullet or shrapnel, not shot in the head. Isn't that just what I said? Lying ass ninja, if you don't sit your... Okay? He was grazed. Now, sitting up here, Mayor said he's exaggerating. No, he's lying. Getting shot and getting grazed is two different things. His ass is lying. That's what he's doing. But let's let him cook.
Who did security for Death Row with off-duty police officers or guys with a CCW. Everybody knows when we go to a fight in Vegas, we're going to be at the Tyson fight, or we're going to be at my club they call Club 662. You can go to that club and you'll see Mary J. Blige perform, Jodeci performs, Tupac performs, Snoop and the Dogg Pound, Andre. I mean, unbelievable talent in one place. That night was going to be Run DMC East Coast night. Reggie Wright Jr. told the security they can't carry firearms. The sad thing about that, Pac hated Reggie Wright Jr.
Okay, listen, you all. With all due disrespect to Suge, didn't Pierce ask him whether or not Diddy put out the hit, or he thought Diddy put out the hit on Tupac? How is he talking about Reggie Wright? Now, why did he just gaslight this man and move on to the next subject? Okay, Suge, answer the questions, okay, that are asked of you. But hold on. I'm really getting tired of listening to Suge because he ain't doing nothing but sit up here lying. Okay, that's all he's doing is sit up here lying. Now, I saw somebody put something in the chat about Smokey Robinson. And then it dawned on me that I had not done a follow-up on Smokey's situation. Okay, it was the new person in the chat. Black Ace said something about Smokey Robinson. So let me just tell you all what Smokey has done, you all. This is interesting. Now, this came out yesterday, no less. Smokey Robinson files a $500 million case against his grape accusers. Honey, if that ain't flipping the script, I want y'all to pay attention. Smokey said, not today, not on my watch. Motown legend Smokey Robinson has filed a $500 million defamation lawsuit against 4 former housekeepers who have accused the singer of sexual assault. Now, the legal case filed by the star and his wife, Frances, on Wednesday in California, accused the women of fabricating the sexual assault allegations as part of an extortionate lawsuit. Okay, I don't know if y'all believed it, but when I read the story, I told you all I had several questions. I'm not just going to go along with what they said. You know, some people are stupid enough to say believe all women. Honey, I don't believe all of nothing until I see some proof, facts, and receipts. Because women can lie just like men, and that's just a fact. Okay, just because I'm one don't mean I'm going to condone the uckery. But anyway, with that all being said, the Robinsons said the alleged victims who filed their case anonymously went on family holidays with the couple and celebrated holidays together. The singer, who is now also under criminal investigation in Los Angeles over accusations of assault, has denied all of the allegations, and his lawyer said those behind the accusations were after his money. Now, Mr. Robinson's lawyers also filed a motion to dismiss the women's lawsuit, arguing they should not have been granted anonymity. So the Robinsons did not abuse, harm, or take advantage of plaintiffs. They treated plaintiffs with utmost kindness and generosity. Now, what do you all think? By a show of ones in the chat, do you all think when people file these lawsuits against people that they should be allowed to remain anonymous? I feel like this. If you're telling the truth, show your face. If you have nothing to hide, say who you are. Why do these people want to file anonymously so much? I have several questions. Okay, but let me continue. So it goes on to say, the Robinsons did not abuse, harm, or take advantage of plaintiffs. They treated plaintiffs with the utmost kindness and generosity. Now, the women filed the lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court on May the 6th under the pseudonyms Jane Doe's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, in a 27-page legal action, which I read to you all, they alleged several incidents that they said dated back to 2006 and accused Mr. Robinson of pressuring them into sex. So you mean to tell me this was damn near 20 years ago and y'all just decided to say something? That's another thing that gets on my nerves too. Like, I'm so serious. If somebody does something to you, tell right then. Don't wait 10, 15, 20, 30 years later to come back. If you can't tell it then, what's the difference 30 years later that now you have the guts to tell it? Like, this is all crazy to me, but let me continue. Now, all 4 women who are of Hispanic descent said they had not come forward until now because they feared losing their livelihoods, their familial reprisal or embarrassment. Some were concerned the allegations would affect their immigration status. They're seeking at least $50 million in damages and a jury trial. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department then opened its investigation, which the 85-year-old singer said at the time he welcomed because exposure to the truth is a powerful thing. He said he welcomes the investigation. Now, Mr. Robinson said he was Motown's first hit maker, writing a number of songs and records like Mary Wells' My Guy and The Temptations' My Girl. He was both a talent scout for the record label and one of its most prominent recording artists in its own right, known for songs like Tracks of My Tears, Shop Around, and Tears of a Clown. He has spots in both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and claims to have credits on more than 4,000 songs. This man is a whole legend, honey. Okay, I hope you didn't do it, Smokey. They're probably, they might be lying on you, honey. Okay, because I'm telling you right now, when you start letting people come back decades later and file all kinds of lawsuits against people or whatever, some people are just going to be lying just to get a bag. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't any victims, because surely there are, but I'm just saying some of these people are just clearly going to be lying just to get bags, honey. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Please make it all make sense. This man is 85 years old, and you mean to tell me he did this, supposedly it started about almost 20 years ago, and now y'all want to come out talking about y'all was worried about immigration status? So y'all not worried about immigration status right now? So y'all not worried about being embarrassed by your families right now? What has changed in these 20 years that makes y'all feel like now you should just come out? You don't have to be fearful or ashamed. Anyway, nothing yet from CNN over the last 10 minutes. And then, okay, here we got something from Inner City Press. Okay. Still says, you wrote. Mia says, watch Puff tonight on Fuse today. I convinced him to make a door on his TV set and call it the Diddy door. Still says, you post a picture of the person who has ruined your life. Mia said, and my boss. Still said, who made you post this? She said, no one. Still says, how do you forget about waking up with a man on top having his way with you? She said, I was in fear of upsetting him. The moments other than when we were best friends. First of all, how the hell is somebody your best friend after they raped you? After they crawled into your bed in the dark of night and got upon you and did they thing, honey, without you wanting to do it. How the hell is that your friend? Like, honey, this sounds crazy as hell to me, okay? This witness right here, she's for the birds. She's for the birds for me. Shout out to Deontay and Carrie Morgan for being excellent witnesses on the stand. But this lady, this is not, I'm not falling for it. It just sounds like crazy. Okay, still says, how are you best friends with a man? You say, great job. Exactly. Then she's going to say, try to get smart with Brown. Still say, ask my therapist. Girl, we're not going to ask your therapist, even though you do need to be seeing one clearly from the sounds of it. We're going to ask you. Ask my therapist. So she's blaming it on mental health issues. Girl, bye. She sounds crazy as hell. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give her no empathy and no sympathy and no pass because this don't make no damn sense as far as I'm concerned. So somebody did these vile, sick things to you. Humiliated you. Can you imagine ladies standing there in front of people with blood trickling down your leg because you can't go change your monthly hygienic products, for lack of a better term or phrase. And then this person rapes you. And then you allude to the fact that he put something in your drink when he gave you those 2 shots. Honey, it ain't that much scared in the world. Honey, I would have quit that damn job. Who would want to stay there? Then you can't even leave. You got to ask permission for every little thing. Girl, why? I just want you all to pay attention because if what this young lady is saying is true, this just further proves how people will sell their souls to the devil. Okay? And by the devil, I mean Diddy. Okay? If you would still work for this man and say nice and kind things about this man and post these things on social media, knowing that this man did these things, and I'm not saying he did, because I don't know if she's telling the truth or not, but I have several questions. But if this man did these things to you, why would you be saying such nice things about him? Like, that makes no sense. Why would you even still stay employed there? Honey, I wouldn't shovel shit out of a barn, okay, with horses before I worked for Diddy after he did such things. And that's on box. This is all absolutely crazy. All absolutely crazy. I don't get it. Jamal said, yes, it makes sense. It's a lot of debauchery on YouTube. That is real life. No, it doesn't make sense. I wouldn't give a damn if everybody was doing it, Jamal. It still don't make any sense. That don't make any sense, and it never will. How does that make sense? That don't even make sense to her. That's why she can't explain it. When the man asked her, she couldn't make it make sense. That's why she said, ask my therapist, trying to be smart. That don't make no sense at all to anybody. Okay? This is all crazy. Y'all sitting here going in because I said I would shovel shit. I'm dead serious. I do that before I work for Diddy's RS. That's on facts. Okay, please miss me with all of it, honey. Ugh. I mean, you gotta lay in bed at night and sleep with one eye open. Okay, you can't even lock your door. Then you gotta ask Diddy's permission, just like you're a little kid. Diddy, can I go to my grandfather's funeral? You know, he died last week. Child, this is all crazy. And I wish Diddy would. I'd have beat Diddy's ass so quick. I'm telling y'all right now, honey, this would have been we wouldn't even be sitting here having a trial for Diddy if I had to ever work for him. Because Diddy would have been gone a long time ago. The first time he tried it with the Queen, baby, because I'd have picked up something and cracked his head to the white meat. And I'm not even playing. Okay, y'all can think I'm joking if you want to. Okay? Y'all can think I'm joking if you want to, baby. Diddy would have got his. But let me go back to Suge's lying arse. Let's get into it. We about to go, hold on. Nope, let's not, because we about to go to break, honey. It's 12:30. Hold on, let me see. This is all so crazy. This is all so crazy. Human Nature said, Diddy, can I go to my grandfather's funeral? Is insane. That's what she said, beloved. DJ Big Six said, go to glory. Okay. She said she had to ask that man if she could go to her grandfather's funeral. Okay. Stop the planet. Stop that planet. The planet I want to get out said, my eyes are so watery right now. I'm just going to leave early before they ask me to. Stop that planet. You need to sit down somewhere. Not before they ask you to. You at work. Don't be there laughing all out at work and don't let me get y'all in trouble. Now, Queen Sarah said, that's if you get some sleep. Okay. This is all crazy. I absolutely cannot. Hey, Elizabeth, beloved, welcome to the Royals. And thank you for becoming a member. Peace, love, and blessings. I appreciate you. Stop that planning. I want to get out said. I'm at work cracking up, Queen. Y'all be thinking I'm joking, but I am so serious. I am very serious about what I'm saying. Just Joy said, I'm glad I'm working from home today. Queen have me rolling. Love it. Y'all be laughing at me, but I'm serious, honey. I am so sick of Diddy. I need to go up there to that courtroom so I can just pimp slap him one time. Y'all think they'll lock me up, y'all? Y'all think they'll lock me up if I just walk up in the courtroom, pow, slap Diddy one good time? Okay, so just like I thought, court is going for a lunch break, beloveds. Okay, so they're going for lunch break, and they'll be back at 1:15, and so will we. So since they're coming back at 1:15, I'm going to come back at 1:30, give them a few minutes to get in there and get settled. And so by the time we get back, we don't have to just sit and wait, you know, for the updates to start pouring in. Okay? Vantisha said, yes, you're going to jail, Queen. Honey, you know I'm lying, honey. I don't throw rocks at the penitentiary, honey. You let me sit up here and fool y'all like I walk up in anybody's court and slap any damn body, including Diddy, honey. I'm just talking trash. Okay? You can best believe that. Jail? Honey, I'm going in the opposite direction, baby. Police. Okay? I am not going to do it. Okay. So Nitty said, we will bail you out. Okay, thank you, beloved. That's good to know. Look at Dickie in here talking about free Diddy. Sorry, sir or ma'am, but no, Diddy's going down for the count. Okay, there will be no freeing of Diddy on these streets. Diddy's going down. That's just facts. Okay? And he needs to. I mean, hasn't he done enough? Hasn't he done enough? Okay? Even if we can't prove every little thing about this RICO, have we not done enough? Or has he not done enough? Michael M. said, Queen, you would not have been allowed to be within 100 feet of Diddy, LOL. I beg your pardon, honey. I wouldn't want to get within 100 feet of him anyway. I told you, I'm just talking smack. At the end of the day, I wouldn't want to touch Diddy anyway, because if I slapped his ass and one of his demons jumped off on me, then I become nefarious. Honey. You know, energy is contagious. I told y'all that. You got to be careful who you touch and who you allow to touch you, honey. I don't want no parts of touching Diddy, okay? Don't pay me any mind, honey. Take what I said with a grain of salt. With that all being said, honey, I am out of here. Listen, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. We will be right back at 1:30. I'm about to post the link now, so you all go get your snacks, get you some lunch or whatever, and I will see you all back momentarily for round 2 of Diddy's trial. What is this? Day 12, I think. Okay. So anyway, love you all to life, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got